The keys landed on the conference table with a cheap metallic clatter. They were attached to a red plastic tag stamped Mercer's Table, rear door, the lettering scratched white around the edges. Noah knew the key with the square head stuck in winter. His father used to shoulder the door while Noah twisted it, both of them swearing at the cold. Grant stared at the keys, then at Noah, and laughed. It escaped him in one hard bark before he covered his mouth. "Sorry, no, you're not," Noah said. Across the table, Aunt Diane folded her hands over a yellow legal pad. "Your father believed everyone should receive something suited to their abilities." The attorney looked down. Grant had already received the lake house. Diane had received the 2 commercial properties. Meredith, Grant's wife, had been given the investment accounts, and Noah, wearing a borrowed suit and owing his landlord $1,100, had been given the restaurant that had lost money for 14 straight months. Grant nudged the keys toward him. Maybe the cooks still know Dad's magic recipes. The unanswered question sat behind everyone's polite expression. Had Thomas Mercer left Noah the restaurant because he still believed in him, or because this was the last way he could say his younger son had failed? Noah left the keys on the table. The attorney, Mr. Bell, cleared his throat with the careful sadness of a man paid by the hour. "Mr. Mercer, you'll need to sign the acknowledgement. I acknowledge it. In writing. I'm not taking it." Diane's pen stopped above the legal pad. She was 61, narrow through the shoulders, with silver hair cut so precisely it seemed she trimmed it between phone calls. She had worn black to the funeral 3 weeks ago. Today she wore navy, which apparently meant mourning had entered its administrative phase. "You can disclaim the property," Mr. Bell said. "Though I recommend you first review, I reviewed it when I worked there. The freezer compressor sounds like a helicopter. The dining room ceiling leaks by table 12. Marconi Produce stopped delivering unless they get cash." Grant leaned back. "You've kept up. Dad kept calling me." That took some air out of the room. Meredith looked down at her wedding ring. Grant's grin remained, but it no longer had anywhere comfortable to go. Diane drew a small line on her pad. "Your father called many people toward the end. He called me 17 times. You counted?" "My phone did." Noah had not answered the last 9. He had listened to 2 voicemails without playing them all the way through, then saved them as if saving and hearing were the same act. Mr. Bell slid the acknowledgement closer. "Taking the keys today doesn't obligate you to operate the business." "What happens to the staff?" Diane answered before the attorney could. "They're employees, Noah. Normal employment procedures happen." That sounded almost human. It was intended to sound accurate. Grant reached for the keys and spun them once on the polished wood. "Look, if it makes you feel better, I didn't ask for the lake house. You complained about the taxes before Dad was in the ground. I was discussing estate expenses. At the wake, it came up. You brought a folder." Meredith shut her eyes briefly. The laugh had not made Noah angry. Not exactly. Anger required heat, and he felt cold all the way into his teeth. At 24, Grant had been given a sales position in one of their father's companies and a down payment for his first home. At 24, Noah worked nights feeding sheets into a laundry press that could flatten a hand in half a second. The suit pulling at his shoulders belonged to a co-worker named Darnell, who was 3 inches broader and had warned him not to eat spaghetti in it. Diane pushed the keys to the precise center of Noah's side of the table. "Your father made his decision," she said. "Whatever his reasons, refusing to look at the restaurant won't change them." There it was, not concern, not cruelty either. Diane had a gift for making cruelty sound like weather. Noah signed the acknowledgement. Grant smiled. "Congratulations, Chef." Noah picked up the keys and closed his fist until the teeth bit his palm. Outside, late November rain turned the parking lot black. Noah stood beneath the awning while the others moved toward their cars. Diane unlocked a pearl gray sedan. Grant and Meredith headed for a new SUV, still clean enough underneath to suggest it had never visited the lake house it now belonged to. 30 days, Grant called over the roof. "That's my guess." "For what?" "Before you sell." "To whom?" Grant's smile changed. He had forgotten, for 1 second, to pretend he didn't want anything. "Somebody will want the land," he said. Mercer's Table sat on less than an acre beside a tire store and a narrow creek that flooded the lower parking spaces twice a year. Noah looked at him until Grant shrugged and got into the SUV. Meredith lingered with one hand on her door. He laughs when he's uncomfortable. "Then marriage must be hilarious." A corner of her mouth moved. "Your father talked about you. Everybody keeps telling me what my father did when I wasn't there. She accepted that without defending herself. The blue suit looks nice. It's Darnell's. I don't know Darnell. He'll be crushed. She got in beside Grant. Noah had no car. He watched 3 inheritances leave the parking lot, then walked 6 blocks in the rain to catch the number 8 bus. He told himself he was going to Mercer's table for his things. There was an old knife roll in the upstairs office, unless his father had thrown it away. A framed photograph of Noah's mother used to hang beside the dry storage shelves, though that might have disappeared during one of Diane's renovations. There were 2 cookbooks with his name written inside and a navy sweatshirt in the employee locker room. None of it required owning a restaurant. None of it required staying past 5. The bus windows fogged around the edges. Noah sat near the rear with the red tag keys hidden in his fist. He had quit Mercer's table 6 months before his father died, during Friday dinner service in front of 11 employees and an open dining room. His father had tasted Noah's sauce, set down the spoon, and said, "You always stop one decision before it gets good." Noah had told him the new menu was bloodless, expensive, and designed for people who photographed dinner instead of eating it. Thomas had called him undisciplined. Noah had called him a frightened old man in a chef's coat. Then his father had said the thing Noah could still hear over the hiss of the laundry presses. Your mother made you believe wanting something was the same as earning it. Noah had untied his apron and dropped it at his father's feet. His mother had been dead 11 years. The bus jolted over a pothole, and Noah's thumbnail dug into the red plastic tag. Mercer's table appeared between a tax office and the tire store, its brick facade darkened by rain. The gold M above the entrance had lost one of its mounting brackets and leaned forward as if listening for bad news. 3 cars occupied the lot. One belonged to Rosa Alvarez. Noah recognized the bumper sticker. If you want breakfast in bed, sleep in the kitchen. He stood across the street while traffic sprayed dirty water along the curb. The restaurant was supposed to be closed between lunch and dinner, but one lamp glowed behind the front windows. The old version of Mercer's table had looked warm even in daylight. White curtains, crowded tables, copper pans hanging above the pass. After the renovation, Diane had replaced the curtains with gray blinds and painted the walls a color the designer called river stone. It looked like a bank where somebody might serve fish. The rear key stuck. Noah pushed his shoulder against the door, twisted harder, and nearly fell into the kitchen when it opened. "Door still hates a coward," Rosa called. She stood at the stainless steel prep counter dividing silverware into cloth napkins. At 58, Rosa wore her black hair in a knot that grew looser as each shift went wrong. It was already leaning left. "I'm not a coward," Noah said. "You came through the back. The key works back here. The front door is unlocked." He wiped rain from his face. "Good to see you, too." Rosa finished rolling a fork into a napkin. "Did they bury Tom in that ugly green tie?" "No." Diane switched it. Thank God for small mercies. From the dish pit came the knock of metal against metal. Leon Brooks appeared holding a stock pot. He was 39, broad-shouldered, and wore a white cook's jacket with Thomas embroidered above the pocket. The sleeves stopped well short of his wrists. "Only clean one," Leon said, noticing Noah looking. "I turned it inside out, but then the buttons got weird. You're allowed to wear it. I was hoping the dead man couldn't file a complaint." May Park emerged from the walk-in with a crate of apples hugged against her chest. He'd find a way. Behind her, Calvin Reed sat on a milk crate peeling onions. His shoulders were as thick as Noah remembered, but he held the paring knife differently now, pinched between 2 fingers as if the handle were hot. At the server's station, Tasha Green counted cash into stacks of 1s and 5s. Nobody said they were sorry about his father. Noah was grateful until he wasn't. Rosa placed another fork on another napkin. "We thought Diane would come." She didn't get the restaurant. The kitchen went still in pieces. First Tasha stopped counting, then May lowered the apples. Leon kept holding the stock pot, but his eyebrows lifted. Calvin sliced through an onion skin. "Grant?" "No." Rosa studied Noah's borrowed suit, the wet shoulders, the keys in his hand. "Oh," she said. Leon set down the pot. "Oh good or oh bad? Just, oh." Tasha tucked the money into an envelope. "Are we fired?" "I don't know. You own the restaurant. I signed a paper saying somebody gave me keys." "That's usually how owning works," May said. "I came for my knife roll." Calvin dropped a peeled onion into a plastic tub. "Upstairs? and some books, also upstairs. Noah waited. Calvin picked up another onion. Stairs are in the same place. He went up alone. The office smelled like old coffee and printer toner. His father's desk had been cleared except for a stapler, a jar of antacids, and pale rectangles in the dust where objects had stood. The filing cabinets hung open. Diane had removed the account binders, the framed licenses, even the brass desk clock Thomas wound every Monday morning. Noah found the knife roll beneath a stack of supplier catalogs. The knives were gone. He laughed once, quietly. Of course they were. His father had left him the restaurant and taken the blades. When Noah came downstairs, the dining room lights were off. Rain pressed silver lines against the windows. The staff had gathered around table 7, where 6 mismatched plates surrounded a steaming casserole dish. "We eat at 4, Rosa said. "I'm leaving. Then eat fast. I'm not staying. Sit while you don't." There was an empty chair between Leon and Tasha. Noah should have walked past it. The number 8 came every 32 minutes, and the overnight shift at the laundry started at 10. He had a damp suit to return, an eviction warning beneath his apartment door, and no business sharing a meal with people he might have to fire. Then Leon lifted the lid from the casserole. The smell reached Noah before the steam cleared. Cider, mustard, onions cooked past sweetness, and chicken skin browned under the broiler. His hand tightened around the empty knife roll. Nobody at the table spoke. Noah sat down slowly. Leon spooned chicken onto his plate. The sauce ran into the mashed potatoes, gold at the edges, exactly as it had on Sunday evenings when Noah was 12 and his father still cooked at home, because silence was worse without something simmering. He took one bite. The room tilted, not dramatically, not enough for anyone to catch him. Just a small private shift, as if a locked door inside him had moved against its frame. "My dad stopped making this," Noah said. Calvin kept his eyes on his plate. "No," Rosa said. "He stopped making it for you." Noah set down his fork. Rosa tore a roll in half and buttered it as if she had commented on the weather. "What does that mean?" "It means you're letting your food get cold. You said he stopped making it for me. He made it here." "When?" "Thursdays, mostly," Leon said. "Sometimes Sunday. This wasn't on the menu. Staff meal." Noah looked around the table. May had begun separating the crisp skin from her chicken with the side of her fork. Tasha kept her eyes on the cash envelope beside her plate. Calvin ate with the methodical concentration of someone who had no intention of being recruited into a family argument. "How do you know the recipe?" Noah asked Leon. Leon swallowed. "Tom showed me. My father showed you how to make this." "That's what I just said. He didn't show people recipes. He showed people things all the time," May said. "He corrected people. That's different. Correction is how he showed you. No, correction is how he made you wish you'd never touched a pan." Calvin's mouth twitched. Also true. Noah tasted the sauce again, this time looking for a flaw. Too much mustard, not enough cider, onion sliced too thick. His father would have found something, and Noah hated that he wanted to find it first. "What kind of cider?" Leon leaned back. "Here we go. It matters. Cheap kind, dry or sweet. The kind on sale. My father used Martinelli's. When he had money," Rosa said. "When he didn't, he used whatever came in a gallon jug. That tastes dry." "It's apple juice and vinegar," Leon said. Noah stared at him. Leon shrugged. "We ran out of cider. You can't substitute juice and vinegar. You just ate it. That doesn't make it the same." "No," Leon said. "It makes it dinner." Calvin covered a cough with his fist, though Noah saw the laugh in his shoulders. The dining room held the soft noises of adults who had worked too long together to require peace before eating. Forks touched plates. A heating vent clicked beneath the windows. Somewhere in the kitchen, the ice machine released a load with a distant crash. Noah cut another piece of chicken. His father's version had carried more pepper. Or perhaps Noah only remembered it that way because Thomas used to grind pepper over the dish while complaining about Noah's homework, the electric bill, the governor, and anyone who sold boneless chicken thighs. Memory had preserved the sound of the grinder more faithfully than the taste. "When did he teach you?" Noah asked. Leon glanced toward Rosa, but she gave him nothing. "August. Noah had quit in May. Thomas died in October. Why? He said the new chef didn't know how to feed people. The executive chef he hired? Yep. Where is he?" "Scottsdale," Tasha said. "He left a voicemail saying the restaurant lacked the capital to support his vision." "He also took 2 aprons," May added. Rosa pointed her fork at her. You can't prove that. He had them in his car. You looked in his car? He parked beside the pastry window. I have eyes. Noah waited for the room to settle. Dad hired him. And then Dad disliked him, Rosa said. Your father contained multitudes. Most of them irritated him. That pulled a laugh from Noah before he could stop it. It hurt his throat. He ate the rest of the chicken. After the plates were cleared, Tasha handed Rosa the envelope. Lunch cash. 186, including tips. How many covers? Noah asked. 14. On a Tuesday? Today is Wednesday, May said. He checked his phone. Wednesday. The laundry made days indistinguishable. Damp heat, white sheets, the timer above the press. His landlord's last notice had been taped to his door Monday morning. He had measured the week in hours until payday, not names. Where are the sales reports? Upstairs, Rosa said. I was upstairs. Bottom drawer, the one that sticks. The filing cabinets were empty. The desk. My father's desk has a bottom drawer. 5 people looked at him. Right, Noah said. I'll find it. The drawer required a kick. Inside were 3 register reports, a stack of invoices held together with a rubber band, and a black ledger. Noah carried everything to the desk and sat in his father's chair. It sank 4 inches. Thomas had been shorter and heavier, and the chair retained both facts. Noah reached beneath the seat until he found the lever, then stopped. Adjusting it felt unreasonably intimate. He worked with his knees too high. The reports were worse than he expected. Lunch barely covered hourly wages. Dinner had improved on Friday and Saturday, but not enough. The restaurant owed Marconi produce, a linen service, the butcher, the utility company, and somebody named Wes, who had repaired the grease trap twice without being paid either time. A red notice from the gas company demanded payment by Friday. Noah found payroll calculations in Rosa's handwriting. Is this current? He called down. Her answer rose through the open office door. Which terrible piece of paper? Payroll. Yes. You're short. We noticed. By how much? You have the terrible piece of paper. They were short by $2,700, not including payroll taxes. The business account balance, written at the top of that morning's register tape, was $914. Noah went back downstairs carrying the ledger. The others were preparing for dinner. Calvin trimmed a beef roast at the prep table, dragging the knife in short strokes. May arranged ramekins on sheet pans. Tasha polished wine glasses beneath the hanging rack, rejecting every third one for spots. Leon stood at the range stirring a pot of soup. Rosa was at the host stand erasing reservations from a paper book. You knew payroll wouldn't clear, Noah said. She looked at Tasha, then toward the kitchen. Everybody had already known. Tom covered it himself the last 2 times, Rosa said. From where? His personal account. That account belonged to Meredith now. Noah opened the ledger. You're owed 2 weeks? 1, Tasha said. Plus 2 days, May said. Calvin continued trimming the roast. Why are you here? Rosa's expression sharpened. Careful. I mean, why are you working if you know there's no money? For the adventure, Tasha said. Noah looked at her. She set another spotted glass aside. I need the check. I'm not too proud to say it, but you might not get it. I definitely won't get it if nobody serves dinner. We have 11 reservations, Rosa said. That won't cover payroll. It may cover the gas bill. Then what covers payroll? Nobody answered. We should cancel dinner, he said. Calvin's knife stopped. We should cancel everything. Close tonight, preserve whatever cash is left, figure out what can be sold, and use it to pay part of what you're owed. Tasha placed a clean wine glass on the rack. Part. I'm not pretending there's enough. No, she said. You're very refreshing. Rosa took the ledger from him. The dining room furniture is financed. Most of the kitchen equipment, too. What exactly will you sell? The copper pans, decorative, the mixer, broken, the slicer, mostly broken. Can anything in here complete a task? Us, Leon said. The soup simmered behind him. It smelled of tomatoes and roasted garlic, another smell from before the renovation, before Thomas had begun serving soups with names like corn velouté. Noah rubbed his palm over his mouth. Who made that? I did. What is it? Tuesday's soup. It's Wednesday, May said. I started it yesterday. Noah lifted the ladle before Leon could object and tasted. White beans, tomato, rosemary, garlic. A rind of parmesan had melted into the broth. His father used to make the same soup from the ends of vegetables and charge nothing for a second bowl. "You're putting this on tonight?" "We put something on every night," Leon said. "Not what I asked. That's the plan, unless you shut us down." A knock came from the front door. An older man in a rain jacket stood beneath the awning, with a woman beside him. They peered through the glass, saw the dark dining room, and checked the hours printed near the handle. "We don't open for 40 minutes, Tasha said. The man spotted her and lifted both hands in apology. The woman pointed across the street, suggesting they wait somewhere else. Rosa unlocked the door. "Come in out of the rain," she said. "We're not ready, but you can sit." The woman smiled with visible relief. "We can come back." "Nonsense, we don't want to trouble you. You already have, now come inside." Noah watched Rosa lead them to table 10. She turned on the lamp beside the booth, but left the overhead lights dark. Tasha brought water without being asked. The man removed his wet cap and set it carefully on his knee. "They come every Wednesday," Rosa said when she returned. "He's Mr. Haney," Calvin called from the kitchen. "She's Dr. Haney, retired," Rosa added. "Don't call her Mrs. unless you want to lecture. I don't want to call her anything. We're closed. We're opening. No, we're discussing whether we're opening. You're discussing. We're working." The front door opened again. 3 people in office clothes entered, laughing as they shook rain from their umbrellas. Behind them came a broad man with a beard who went directly to the bar and claimed the end stool. 11 reservations, Noah realized, did not mean 11 diners. Rosa's book marked tables. "How many covers?" he asked. 32. "That's different. Numbers often are." Tasha walked by, carrying menus. "Now he's going to save us." "I didn't say that. You got the face." "What face?" "The man with a calculator face." Noah followed Rosa to the host stand. "What are they ordering?" "Food, if we behave professionally." "What sells?" "Steak." "What makes money?" "Not steak." "Then why are we selling it?" Your father liked watching Calvin suffer. From the kitchen, Calvin raised one hand without looking up. Noah opened a menu. It was a glossy single sheet, crowded with dishes from 3 different identities. Truffle fries beside pot roast, miso-glazed salmon above chicken parmesan. A $38 strip steak, described with more adjectives than the restaurant had customers. "Do you have the old menus?" Rosa nodded toward a cabinet beneath the host stand. He found a stack bound with twine. The top menu was 8 years old, stained at one corner. Another came from the restaurant's first year. Its paper had yellowed, and the prices looked fictional. Cider braised chicken appeared beneath Sunday's supper. White bean soup was listed as Thomas's pantry soup. Noah traced the letters with his thumb. "You said each of you knew things he made," he said. Rosa did not answer immediately. The bar customer was signaling for her, but she kept her eyes on Noah. "We know what he taught us," she said. "How much?" "That depends who you ask." "Ask all of us, get 4 answers," Calvin said. 5 if Tom changed his mind halfway through. "Can you make these?" Noah held up the old menu. Leon leaned over the pass. "Some." May came beside him, wiping flour from her hands. "His apple cake." "He stopped serving that," Noah said. "He was working on a new version. Did he finish it?" "No." The front door opened again. Voices entered with the rain. Noah looked at the old menu, then at the room coming reluctantly alive around him. Tasha lit table lamps. Rosa took drink orders. Calvin flexed his right hand once before gripping his knife. Leon tasted the soup and added salt without consulting anyone. 32 covers would not save Mercer's table. Neither would one old menu, 5 stubborn employees, or an owner who had arrived by bus to collect knives that were no longer there. "Open tonight," Noah said. Rosa gave him no satisfaction. "We intended to." "Tomorrow, too." "And Friday?" He looked through the front windows at the red glow of the tire store sign reflected on wet pavement. 30 days, he said. "We keep it alive for 30 days. Then we see what's left." Tasha passed him with a tray of waters. "Do owners know how to wash glasses?" Noah removed Darnell's suit jacket and draped it over the host stand. "This one does." "Good," she said, "because our dishwasher is making soup." The glass washer coughed steam into Noah's face. He had forgotten how quickly dinner service erased whatever dignity a person wore into the building. Within 20 minutes, his dress shirt clung to his back. His borrowed trousers were wet from mid-thigh down, and a pale streak of tomato soup marked one cuff. He rolled his sleeves above his elbows and fed racks through the machine while Leon moved between the stove and the dish pit. "You're loading them too close," Leon said. "They're glasses. They're not lonely. Water can't get between. I know how a dishwasher works. You used to leave sheet pans soaking until somebody else did them. I was 19. You were 22. That sounds made up." Leon plucked 2 glasses from the rack and spaced them properly. "Growth requires honesty. So does rent. How many hours are you clocked for today?" Leon gave him a look. Less growth, more washing. At the pass, Calvin called for 2 bowls of soup. Tasha swept in, took them, and stopped. "No parsley?" "We're out," Leon said, then put something green on it. "It's soup, not a yard." The guests eat with their eyes. Tell their mouths they're missing out. Tasha looked at Noah as though ownership came with a parsley-producing function. "Green onion," he said. "Slice the tops thin." "We use the bottoms for tomorrow," Leon said. Noah looked into the prep cooler. There were 6 bunches. "You have enough." "For tonight." "We need to make tonight good enough to earn tomorrow." Leon's jaw moved, but he chopped the green tops. Noah knew the argument was not about onions. In the kitchens his father ran, one person made a decision and everybody else learned how to live inside it. Noah had been in charge for less than an hour and already felt that old shape waiting for him. The ticket printer began rattling. For a few minutes the kitchen found its rhythm. Calvin moved more slowly than Noah remembered, but the plates leaving his station were precise. Leon worked 3 burners while keeping one eye on the soup. May placed warm bread on small wooden boards and spooned whipped butter into ramekins because, as she told Noah, people forgave a lot after free bread. Then a ticket came through for 2 strip steaks, one medium well. Calvin pressed 2 fingers against the meat before laying it on the grill. His right hand trembled when he lifted away. "I can take those," Noah said. Calvin turned. "You can wash." "I'm not questioning you. You walked 3 feet to question me." "I saw your hand." Calvin's expression closed. Leon slid between them with a saucepan. "Potatoes need draining." Noah moved to the sink. Behind him, Calvin dropped the steaks onto the grill. The sizzle sounded like a challenge. Noah drained the potatoes, then noticed a pan of pale sauce forming a skin near the stove. "What's that?" "Cauliflower puree," Leon said. "It's too thick. It's not yours. It's going on food from my restaurant." The words came out before he heard them. Leon stopped stirring. Noah looked at the back of his father's jacket. Thomas curved neatly above Leon's shoulder blade. The kitchen seemed to wait, though nobody had stopped moving. "Add stock," Noah said, quieter. Leon lifted the spoon and let the puree fall back into the pan. "It'll loosen when it heats. It won't loosen enough. Watch it." "I don't need to watch starch absorb liquid. Cauliflower isn't starch. Potatoes in there. Some. How much?" Leon set down the spoon. "You want the recipe or you want to win?" Noah stared at him. "Because if you want the recipe, taste it hot. If you want to win, pour in whatever you like." Calvin turned to steak. May pressed her lips together and focused aggressively on the bread. Noah took a clean spoon, tasted the puree, and burned the roof of his mouth. It was smooth, buttery, and looser than it looked. "It's fine," he said. Leon picked up the saucepan. A historic day. At table 10, Dr. Haney sent back her steak. Tasha carried it into the kitchen with both hands, avoiding Calvin's eyes. She asked for medium. "It's well done." Calvin cut into the center. No pink remained. "The grill's running hot," he said. "It's running the way it ran at lunch." I said I'll fix it. Noah reached for a new steak. Calvin put his hand over the tray. "I'll fix it. They've already waited. I cooked for that woman when you still needed a milk crate to reach the prep sink. And tonight, you overcooked her steak." Calvin's hand tightened on the edge of the tray. The swollen knuckles stood pale beneath his skin. Noah heard himself and hated the fact that being right did not make him sound less like Thomas. "I'll do the refire," he said. Calvin stepped aside. The station felt different under Noah's hands, lower, hotter, crowded with tools placed for somebody else's body. He seasoned the steak, laid it diagonally across the grates, and waited for the heat to rise around it. His breathing settled. This part required no forgiveness. Meat responded to temperature and time. It did not remember what you had said 6 months ago. When he turned the steak, the marks were clean. He finished it with butter and thyme, rested it for 4 minutes, then sliced near the edge to check. Medium, Tasha carried it out. She'll say it's rare, Calvin said. She asked for medium. She likes medium, well, but thinks it sounds timid. Then she should ask for what she likes. Calvin scraped the grill. You'll go far in hospitality. 5 minutes later, Tasha returned with an empty plate and Dr. Haney's compliments. Noah did not look at Calvin. Calvin did not look at him. The rest of service passed without a disaster large enough to earn a name. They ran out of mashed potatoes and served roasted fingerlings. A bottle of Cabernet broke near the bar, and Rosa covered the stain with salt while telling the bearded man it was an ancient Spanish technique. May found a tray of forgotten creme brulee in the walk-in and declared them intentionally chilled. At 9:45, Noah checked his phone. 4 missed calls from the laundry? Damn. He ran upstairs for his jacket, found the suit coat where he had left it, and discovered 3 drops of white bean soup on the lapel. Darnell was going to kill him. Rosa stood at the bottom of the stairs, holding the register drawer. Where are you going? Work. She glanced toward the kitchen. This isn't my paying job, Noah said. Apparently neither is this. I'm already late. You own a restaurant. I own 30 days of a restaurant. I also own a landlord who tapes things to doors. What about close? You've closed without me for 6 months. And who counts the drawer? You do. Who verifies it? My father. Her use of the present tense stopped them both. Rosa shifted the drawer against her hip. Tom did. Then Leon. Leon can't verify his own hours. May loses her phone while holding it. I am standing right here, May called from the dining room. Noah rubbed his forehead. I have to go. Rosa held out the drawer. He took it. They counted the cash in the office while he bounced one knee beneath the desk. Dinner sales totaled $2,108. For a moment, the number looked almost hopeful. Then Rosa subtracted tips, sales tax, and the day's food purchases. What remained would keep the gas on and leave enough to buy for the next service. It would not touch payroll. You made more on Wednesdays when I worked here, Noah said. You were here during December. So companies had parties. People drank. Now people order one appetizer and ask for hot water with lemon. Why did we stop the old menu? You were here, not for the final change. Diane said nobody would drive across town for food they could make at home. My father agreed. Your father agreed with whoever spoke last, then punished everybody for it. Noah looked toward the empty space on the desk where the brass clock had stood. Why did he teach Leon the chicken? Rosa gathered the bills into stacks. Ask Leon. I did. Then ask better. His phone rang again. The laundry supervisor. Noah stood so fast his knee struck the desk. I have to take this. Rosa handed him the cash bundle. Safe's behind the coat rack. I know where the safe is. The combination changed. When? 4 years ago. He waited. Your mother's birthday, she said. The numbers arrived like a hand pressed unexpectedly to his chest. He opened the safe on the first try. The number 8 bus had stopped running its direct route, so Noah jogged 9 blocks to the transfer point in dress shoes that pinched both heels. He arrived at the laundry 53 minutes late, carrying his ruined jacket inside a garbage bag to keep it from getting wetter. His supervisor, Mel, stood near the time clock with his arms folded. He was a compact man with a beard net, stretched over a beard that barely existed. Funeral ran long? Mel asked. That was 3 weeks ago. I know, I got stuck at my father's restaurant. You work at your father's restaurant? I own it. Mel looked past him, perhaps checking for a hidden camera. You own a restaurant and work nights here? It's not a good restaurant. That answers one question. I'm sorry. Darnell covered your lane. He's on break. Noah looked through the humid room. Sheets billowed from the industrial press, white and endless. Am I fired? If you're late again this week, yes. Fair. Mel glanced at the garbage bag. What's in there? A friendship I may have ruined. Darnell found him 10 minutes later. He was wearing a sleeveless undershirt beneath his coveralls and eating peanut crackers from the vending machine. You got soup on my funeral suit. It's not exclusively a funeral suit. It has 2 jobs, funerals and court. I'll get it cleaned. At the place you work, we do hotel linen, so no, I'll pay. Darnell bit into a cracker. With your restaurant money? Noah fed a sheet into the press. Heat slapped his face. That joke has had a long day. The work gave him too much time to think. Every sheet arrived wrinkled and damp, passed beneath the heated drum, and emerged flat enough for somebody else's bed. There was comfort in the bluntness of it. Nothing came out transformed beyond recognition. Nothing remembered the hands that fed it in. At 2:30, during break, Noah opened the restaurant's online reviews. He had avoided them since quitting. The newest one described Mercer's table as a sad identity crisis with expensive chairs. Another praised Rosa and complained that the salmon tasted like maple syrup. 3 mentioned slow service. 1 asked what had happened to the old chicken dish with apples and mustard. Noah read that sentence twice. Then he searched deeper. Pot roast, white bean soup, apple cake, onion gravy, Sunday chicken. The dishes appeared in reviews from years earlier, often beside small memories. An anniversary, a promotion, a weekly dinner after work. The customers did not describe culinary brilliance. They wrote that the food tasted dependable, familiar, like the restaurant knew why they had come. At 4 in the morning, Noah found a photograph somebody had posted 8 years ago. His father stood behind the bar, younger and broader, scowling while Rosa held a candle over a slice of apple cake. Beside the photograph, a woman had written, "Tom pretended he hated birthdays, including his own." Noah saved the picture without deciding to. By 6, his shoulders throbbed and the skin on both heels had broken open. He returned the garbage bag to Darnell with a promise about the suit, caught the first bus downtown, and walked the last blocks beneath a sky the color of dirty dishwater. Rosa was unlocking the front door. She looked at him, then at the knife roll tucked beneath his arm. "You're early." "I'm late for yesterday." "That sounds exhausting." Noah unlocked the rear door and pushed his shoulder against it. In the kitchen, Leon's jacket hung from a hook. The embroidered name faced outward. Noah took down an apron instead. Before lunch, he said, "I want everybody to write down every dish my father taught them." Rosa stepped inside and closed the door against the cold. "No." He turned. "No. Tom wrote recipes. We know dishes. What's the difference? You'll find out." She switched on the kitchen lights 1 row at a time. Noah squinted beneath the sudden brightness. "Fine," he said, "then show me." Rosa did not show him anything. She made coffee. Leon arrived 20 minutes later, carrying 2 paper sacks of groceries he had bought with his own money. May came in behind him, removed an umbrella from her tote, and discovered she had forgotten to close it before entering the bus. Tasha appeared with her hair wrapped in a scarf and a takeout cup from a coffee shop whose prices made Noah look twice. Calvin arrived last, wearing a canvas work coat and rubbing his right hand inside his left glove. Nobody had been told about Noah's request. They somehow objected to it together. "You can't do this before lunch," Leon said. "We have 3 hours. We have onions to cut. Teach while you cut." Calvin hung up his coat. "That how culinary school worked. I left culinary school. We heard." Noah looked at Rosa. She poured coffee into a mug labeled "World's Okayest Boss" and slid it toward him. "First lesson. Feed people before you ask them to remember. I ate 4 hours ago. I meant them." Leon unpacked the paper sacks. Carrots, celery, 2 bags of dried beans, garlic, and 4 cans of tomatoes covered the counter. "You paid for this?" "I kept the receipt." "With what?" "My famous dishwasher fortune." "I'll reimburse you." "When?" Noah reached for the receipt. Leon put it in his pocket. "When?" There was no answer that would not sound like a promise Noah lacked the right to make. He opened the walk-in instead. The shelves revealed the restaurant's finances more honestly than the ledger. A hotel pan held 6 chicken breasts drying around the edges. 3 strip steaks sat in butcher paper beneath a block of ground beef. The produce bins contained cabbage, onions, potatoes, apples, and 1 fennel bulb, so old it had become philosophical. Tiny plastic containers of specialty ingredients occupied half a shelf. Miso paste, truffle oil, preserved lemon, yuzu dressing, each purchased for a menu that could not decide whom it wanted to impress. "We throw away more than we serve," he said. May leaned into the doorway. "That's why the apples are for cake. They're bruised. They don't know that after baking. What did Dad change in the cake? Everything. That's useful. He changed the apples, then the flour, then the temperature. One time he changed the pan and acted like he'd discovered metal. What was wrong with the old version? It was dry by the 2nd day. Don't keep it 2 days. We had no customers. Noah picked up an apple. The bruise gave beneath his thumb. What was he trying to make? May considered. Something softer. That's not a recipe. I didn't say it was. At the prep table, Calvin had begun grinding beef with a hand-cranked attachment clamped to the edge. Noah watched him feed trimmed pieces into the chute. His movements had the economy of repetition, but each turn of the handle tightened his mouth. Electric grinder broken? Noah asked. Motor burned out in September. So, we don't serve meatloaf until it's repaired. Calvin kept turning. We've served it every Thursday for 21 years. It isn't on the menu. Lunch special. What goes in it? Beef. I can see that. Then you're learning. Noah took the crank. Calvin resisted for half a second, then let go. The handle was stiff. Noah felt cartilage catch in the blades and forced it through. Grated apple, Calvin said. Bread soaked in milk. Onion cooked down first, not raw. How much apple? Enough. That's not a measurement. An apple was a measurement before people invented cups. What kind? Whatever Tom bought too much of. May held up the bruised apple from the walk-in. Wisdom. Why apple? Noah asked. Calvin flexed his fingers, kept it moist, stretched the meat. Tom started doing it when beef went up, and he was too proud to raise the price. Noah remembered the meatloaf. He had eaten it from a chipped plate in the kitchen after school, back when his father's apron always smelled of smoke and onions. Thomas called the apple a secret ingredient, but refused to tell him the secret. He told me it was pear, Noah said. Calvin smiled. He lied to you a lot for entertainment. He said pear made the edges caramelize. He told Grant it was maple syrup. Grant believed him? Grant believes anything if you call it premium. The smile remained on Noah's face a moment longer than he wanted anyone to notice. They made the meatloaf by argument. Calvin judged salt in his palm. Noah weighed it, then wrote the number on the back of an invoice. Calvin graded 2 apples, rejected the third, and could not explain why, except to say it sounded wrong beneath the grater. May made the milk-soaked bread. Leon added black pepper, while Calvin looked away. When the loaf went into the oven, Noah wrote apple meatloaf at the top of a clean page in the black ledger. Calvin crossed it out. What are you doing? That book's for money. It's paper. It's Tom's money book. His money was terrible. Still shouldn't get gravy on it. Noah found a spiral notebook in the office supply drawer and started again. By 11, they had not produced a single complete recipe. They had produced 6 disagreements about meatloaf, 3 versions of onion gravy, and a fierce dispute over whether Thomas had added rosemary to the chicken before or after Noah's mother died. After, Rosa said. Before, Leon said. You didn't work here before. He told me. He told you lots of things. Noah looked from one to the other. Why would that change the rosemary? Nobody answered at first. Then Rosa said, Your mother hated rosemary. It was the kind of small fact grief should not have been able to hide. Noah saw his mother scraping herbs from roasted potatoes with the edge of her knife. He heard her accuse Thomas of cooking Christmas trees. She said it tasted like furniture polish, he said. Rosa nodded. Leon reached for the notebook, then after. Noah pulled it back. No. Write both. Why? Because we don't know. His father had treated recipes as verdicts. 1 correct amount, 1 correct heat, 1 correct moment to turn the meat. Yet every dish the staff remembered had branches, cheap cider or good, rosemary or none, 1 apple or 2 depending on what the beef cost that week. The recipes had not survived like commandments, they had survived like gossip. Lunch began with 7 customers arriving at once. Noah worked the grill beside Calvin, not because Calvin asked, but because the old man's hand had stiffened around his knife. The meatloaf sold out before 1. Dr. Haney came alone and ordered it without looking at a menu. Better than last week, she told Tasha. Calvin heard and pretended not to. One man complained that the gravy needed salt. Another asked for a second serving to take home. At the register, a woman in a postal uniform said she had not seen the meatloaf special in months. We serve it Thursdays, Rosa said. Then I've been coming on Fridays. Tragic. The woman noticed Noah behind the host stand. You're Tom's younger one. Noah almost corrected the possession in that sentence. I'm Noah, I know. You used to steal fries off my plate. I was probably checking quality. You were probably 8. Rosa's eyes flicked toward him, but the woman paid and left. Before the conversation could acquire memories Noah did not want. Lunch sales were $340. Noah used nearly all of it to pay the gas notice. You need that for food, Rosa said as he sealed the payment envelope. We need gas to cook the food. We also need food to cook the food. Leon bought beans. Leon has a mortgage. He wouldn't give me the receipt because he knows you can't pay it. The sentence followed Noah upstairs. His phone showed another message from his landlord. Full balance by Monday. No further extensions. He read it, deleted it, then sat in Thomas's chair and worked on a smaller menu. Meatloaf, white bean soup, pot roast, cider chicken, roast salmon without maple syrup, maize apple cake, if they could get it right. Fewer ingredients, fewer ways for food to die in the walk-in. At 3, he brought the page downstairs. Leon read it first. Chicken takes 2 hours. We have 3. It tastes better tomorrow. We don't have tomorrow's money. Calvin read over Leon's shoulder. Pot roast takes longer. Not for tonight. You wrote it. For next week. Then say next week. I'm saying it now. You write like Tom, Calvin said. Everything looks like it was decided yesterday. Noah took the page back. We'll run the chicken as a special tonight. With what chicken? Leon asked. The breasts in the walk-in. That dish uses thighs. We have breasts. It'll dry out. Not if we shorten the braise. Then the onions won't cook. We cook them first. The skin won't protect the meat. There is no skin. We adapt. Leon folded his arms. You said you wanted his recipe. I want a restaurant that makes it to Friday. They began at 4. Noah seared the chicken breasts and removed them early. He browned onions in the same pan, added apple juice, vinegar, stock, and mustard. The smell came close enough to memory to make him impatient. He increased the heat. Too fast, Calvin said from the grill. I know what I'm doing. Then do it slower. Orders started coming in at 5:30. The first 4 specials sold before Noah had finished the sauce. He added cream, reduced it, tasted, and found it too sharp. His father would have rounded it with butter. Noah dropped in 3 cold pieces and whisked. The sauce broke. Fat spread across the surface in oily yellow islands. He lowered the heat, added stock, whisked harder. It separated further. New pan, Leon said. Start a small batch. No time. We have 10 minutes. We have 4 orders. Then tell Tasha. Noah looked through the pass. The dining room was filling. Grant and Diane had been wrong about 30 days. He could feel failure reaching for him on the second night. Calvin, take this, he said. I need to plate the salmon. Calvin moved over, dipped a spoon into the sauce, and frowned. It's gone. Bring it back. It's grease. Add mustard. That won't fix it, then make it fix it. Calvin set down the spoon. That isn't cooking. Noah slid salmon onto 2 plates and saw one piece tear at the center. You always stop one decision before it gets good. Silence opened around the stove. Calvin stared at him. Noah heard the words again in his father's voice. Across 6 months and a stainless steel counter. Calvin untied his apron. He said that when he wanted his mistake to become yours, he said. Calvin, you've got the voice right. He took his coat from the hook and walked out through the rear door. The door caught, as it always did. Calvin shouldered it open without looking back. Leon grabbed the ruined sauce and carried it to the sink. What are you doing? Removing temptation. We have 4 orders. We have 3. Tasha's stopping the special. I can fix it. You can cook Calvin's station. Another ticket rattled from the printer. Leon dumped the sauce. It hit the basin with a wet slap and vanished beneath hot water. Noah wanted to shove him aside. He wanted to explain that emulsions broke in kitchens every night and that competent cooks recovered them. He wanted 5 quiet minutes to prove the mistake was temporary. Instead, Tasha appeared at the pass. Table 10 says they can wait for the chicken. No chicken, Leon said. They already have bread. Bread isn't a contract. Tell Dr. Haney that. Noah reached for a sauté pan. Give me 8 minutes. Leon stepped between him and the stove. Grill. I can make a pan sauce. You can make 8 people wait while the salmon burns. The printer started again. Noah moved to Calvin's station. The grill held 2 strip steaks, 3 salmon filets, and a chicken breast somebody had ordered plain. Calvin had arranged the plates along the low shelf in the order he intended to use them. A spoon rested beside a pan of onion gravy. His folded side towel sat exactly where he had left it, close enough to catch fire. Noah pulled the steaks forward and touched each with his tongs. Table 6 wants medium rare and medium, Tasha said. Which is which? You're asking me? The ticket just says 2 steaks. Calvin knew. Calvin is gone. Tasha's eyes flashed toward the rear door. We noticed. Rosa arrived behind her. The woman at 14 can't eat onions. Then why did she order the meatloaf? She thought the gravy was the only part with onions. There are onions in meatloaf. She knows that now. Noah shut his eyes for 1 second. His father used to say a kitchen did not collapse from mistakes. It collapsed when people began treating their own mistake as the only one worth solving. Give her the salmon, he said. No glaze, roasted potatoes, cabbage. She doesn't want an upcharge. Don't charge her. She ate half the meatloaf. Then she was brave. Go. Tasha went. Noah turned the steaks, guessed wrong, and sent medium rare to the man who had asked for medium. Leon rebuilt the plate before it reached the dining room. The salmon at table 6 waited too long under the heat lamp. May left the pastry station to plate cabbage. Rosa washed silverware because the rack was empty. For 40 minutes, the restaurant operated by abandoning every job description it possessed. The last chicken special went to Dr. Haney. Leon sliced the breast, laid it over mashed potatoes, and spooned on onion broth, thickened with a little gravy from Calvin's pan. It was not the cider chicken. It looked plain and smelled good. She'll know, Noah said. Then she knows. Tasha carried it out. 10 minutes later, she returned with the empty plate. She said it wasn't the old one. Noah scraped the grill. She also said the onions were right. Leon did not smile. That's not the same as good. I know. They closed with $18 more in sales than the night before, and one fewer cook. Noah counted the drawer in silence. Downstairs, the others cleaned around him. No one played music. Even the spray hose sounded accusatory. When he returned to the kitchen, Leon had removed Thomas's jacket. It lay folded on the prep counter with the embroidered name facing up. What's that supposed to mean? Noah asked. It means it's dirty. You wore it dirty yesterday. Now it's bothering me. Leon pulled on a sweatshirt and walked toward the back door. You're scheduled tomorrow, Noah said. Leon stopped. The sentence had not been intended as a threat. It hung like one anyway. Am I? Leon asked. We need you. You needed Calvin. I know. Did you? Leon. My brother used to work dish with me here. Tom made him cry over a stock pot. Noah had never heard about a brother. He was 27, Leon continued. Big guy, 260 pounds. Tom asked if his hands were decorative. That sounds like him? Yeah. Funny now? It isn't funny. No, but you almost smiled. Noah pressed both palms against the prep counter. The metal was still warm beneath one. What do you want me to say? I don't want you to say anything. You say things when you're scared, and everybody else has to live with them. Leon pushed through the rear door. It stuck, bumped his shoulder, and opened. May was wrapping the remaining apple cake at the pastry station. Are you leaving too? Noah asked. I wasn't. And now? Now I'm deciding whether to answer. Rosa came from the dining room carrying the salt-covered bar towel stained with wine. Stop asking people if they're quitting. It gives them ideas. I need to know who's coming tomorrow. You need to know whether you are. Noah laughed without humor. I own the place. You keep saying that like the building asked you to. Tasha picked up her coat. I'm coming. I can't afford a moral stand. She paused beside Noah. For the record, neither can Calvin. After they left, Noah called Calvin. The call went to voicemail. He tried again and hated himself for making the second attempt, before the first had finished failing. Calvin, it's Noah. Sorry sounded too easy. Thomas had apologized in gifts, a new knife after a cruel service, money left on a table, an expensive bottle opened without explanation. Noah did not know whether direct language was better or merely cheaper. I said something that wasn't mine to say. The sauce was my fault. All of it was my fault. You were right to leave. He looked at the empty hook where Calvin's apron had hung. We need you tomorrow. That's true, but it's not why I'm calling. Call Rosa if you don't want to call me. He ended the message. Rosa waited near the front door, holding her keys. You should sleep, she said. I work in 2 hours. You smell like onions and panic. They won't notice over the bleach. She reached into her purse and set a small tin of ointment on the hose stand. For your heels. How do you know about my heels? You're walking like a cowboy in a diaper. Thank you for preserving my dignity. You lost that in the suit pants. Noah had changed into kitchen trousers after splashing gravy across one thigh. Darnell's suit hung upstairs beside the office window, spotted with soup and rain, the garbage bag beneath it. Did my father call Calvin? Noah asked. After a fight? After he said things. Sometimes. What did he say? Usually that he needed Calvin. Tasha said that wasn't the point. Tasha's right too often. It's unhealthy. Rosa unlocked the door, then looked back at him. Tom thought needing people was the same as loving them. It made him generous when things were good and vicious when he thought they might leave. Did he think I was leaving? You did leave. She stepped into the cold. At the laundry, Mel looked at Noah's swollen eyes and assigned him to folding pillowcases instead of feeding the press. This isn't mercy, Mel said. You look like you'd put your arm in. I appreciate your faith. Did the restaurant burn down? No. Then something went wrong. Noah folded a pillowcase into thirds. I fired somebody by making him fire himself. That sounds managerial. I didn't fire him. Then it sounds managerial and confused. Mel pushed a cart toward the hotel linen area. At break, Noah's landlord called. Mr. Larkin had a slow voice and a habit of pausing before numbers, as though giving Noah a final chance to invent more money. You said Friday, Mr. Larkin said. I said I'd try by Friday. You said Friday. I can give you $300 Monday. You owe $1,100, plus next month in 9 days. I know. I've got your deposit. If you're out by Sunday night, we apply it to the balance and call it even. Noah leaned against a warm dryer. The deposit had been $800. His mother had once told him never to touch it because a deposit was the difference between moving and becoming stuck. Thomas had contributed none of it. Noah had saved for 6 months. If I'm not out, then I file Monday. You'd spend more filing. That's my business. Noah almost said he had a business too. Sunday night, he said. The call ended. He did not tell anyone at the restaurant the next morning. He arrived with a duffel bag of clothes and placed it behind the office door. The room had a narrow couch upholstered in brown vinyl. He measured it with his eyes, decided his feet would hang over, and set the ointment Rosa had given him on the desk. Downstairs, the kitchen was quiet. Leon had not arrived. Calvin had not called. May was turning yesterday's apple cake onto a cutting board. Half of it remained inside the pan. It stuck, she said. Noah set his notebook beside her. How bad? The bottom stayed. The top came out. Serve it upside down. It is upside down. Serve it in bowls. With what? He opened the walk-in. Cream, eggs, aging apples. Custard. Cake with custard? Call it pudding. May looked at the broken cake. That's dishonest. It's British. The rear door opened. Leon entered in a gray sweatshirt, carrying the same 2 grocery sacks, now filled with folded containers from home. He set them on the prep table. I brought back your receipt money, Noah said. With what money? Don't ask questions that weaken the moment. Leon saw the duffel bag near the stairs, but said nothing. Calvin? He asked. No. Rosa came in from the dining room. Her expression made all 3 of them look toward the door. He called me, she said. He'll come at 4. Noah let out a breath. He's not staying, Rosa added. He's coming for his knives. At 11:30, Grant and Diane walked through the front entrance without a reservation. Grant wore a cashmere coat and the expression of a man arriving early to his own prediction. Diane surveyed the occupied lunch tables, then looked toward Noah behind the host stand. We heard you reopen the old menu, she said. Parts of it. Grant picked up the single-page draft Noah had printed that morning. Meatloaf? It sold out yesterday. I'm sure the neighborhood is thrilled. Rosa appeared beside them with 2 menus. Would you like to eat or just lower the temperature? Diane ignored her. We came to make this easier, she told Noah. The restaurant does not have to become another personal catastrophe. Grant placed a folded piece of paper on the host stand. Noah did not touch it. What is that? An offer, Grant said. You walk away. We take the building and the debts. Why? Grant glanced around the dining room, as if the answer were obvious. Because, unlike you, he said, we know what this place is worth. Noah picked up the paper. The offer was 1 page, written in Diane's clean, compressed prose. Grant and Diane would assume control of Mercer's table, accept its existing business debts, and release Noah from any obligation connected to its operation. In return, Noah would transfer everything he had received. There was no payment to him. Worth enough to take, Noah said. Not enough to pay for. We're taking the liabilities, Grant said. You inherited a house with 6 bedrooms. Diane got 2 buildings with tenants. Meredith got an investment account. I get a negative number, and now you'd like me to gift wrap it. Diane lowered her voice. You would be free of the negative number. I'd still have all my personal ones. Her gaze flicked toward the stairs. The duffel bag was not visible from the dining room, but Noah had the uneasy sense that Diane could detect financial distress through walls. Grant tapped the menu. The property can be stabilized. With meatloaf? With responsible management. Whose? That's not your concern if you walk away. A guest at table 4 glanced toward them. Rosa smiled brightly in his direction, then stepped close enough to Grant that only the family could hear her. If you're going to insult the restaurant, I need you to buy lunch. Grant looked at her name tag. Rosa had worn the same brass oval for decades. He did not need to read it. You still here? He asked. Bad luck on both sides. Diane placed one hand on the offer. Your father kept this place open for emotional reasons long after it ceased to make sense. Grant and I have no desire to repeat that mistake. You helped renovate it. We attempted to make it competitive. You painted the dining room like an insurance office. The designer selected the palette. The designer eat here? Grant exhaled. This is exactly why Dad couldn't work with you. Every decision becomes a referendum on whether somebody respects your feelings. Noah folded the offer once. Grant smiled, mistaking the motion. Then Noah folded it again and slid it beneath the uneven leg of the host stand. The stand stopped rocking. Rosa tested it with one finger. Useful. Diane's face did not change. That was how Noah knew he had embarrassed her. The offer expires today, she said. Then you should take it before the floor gets dirty. We're trying to prevent you from harming yourself. No, you're trying to make sure I fail in the way you already described. Grant leaned closer. You think serving Dad's old food means you've cracked some code? He left you a restaurant that couldn't pay its bills. Maybe he knew exactly what you'd do with it. The sentence found its target. Grant saw that and regretted it just enough to look pleased. Rosa picked up 2 menus. Table or door? She asked. Diane turned for the door. Grant stayed. The smell of meatloaf and onion gravy had reached the host stand. He looked toward the dining room, then at Noah. Is it the old one? No. It's made of printer toner. You don't have to be an ass. Table or door? Grant took the menu from Rosa. Table. Diane stared at him. I skipped breakfast. You had eggs. I didn't finish them? They sat at table 12 beneath the stain in the ceiling. Diane ordered coffee and nothing else. Grant ordered meatloaf, then asked Tasha if the kitchen could add maple syrup. Tasha brought the request to Noah with a straight face that lasted 2 seconds. He thinks that's the secret ingredient, Noah said. Is it? Apple. We have maple syrup. Don't encourage him. She returned 5 minutes later with the plate. Grant ate half while pretending to read messages on his phone. Then he ate the other half without looking up. Diane's coffee went cold. At the register, Grant tipped Tasha 20% and told Noah the food was too heavy for lunch. You cleaned the plate? Noah said. I was hungry. You put gravy on the last bite with your finger. Grant looked at Diane. Did you see that? I make it a point not to watch you eat. They left the original offer beneath the host stand. Noah watched Grant's car pull from the lot. For one thin second, he imagined running into the rain, waving the page, and accepting. The business debts would stop gathering around him. He could take his clothes back out of the duffel and ask Mr. Larkin for another week. He could return to the laundry and become again a person whose failures fit inside a time clock. Then the host stand rocked beneath his hand. Rosa glanced at him. Paper's too thin. Story of my inheritance. You could have taken it. I know. Don't expect applause because you didn't. I wasn't. Good. She went to greet 2 customers. At 3:45, Calvin came through the front door, carrying an empty canvas knife case. He had changed out of his kitchen clothes. In jeans and a plaid shirt, he looked smaller, less like a permanent feature of Mercer's table. His right hand was wrapped in a black compression glove. Noah met him near the bar. Your knives are where you left them. I know where they are. Right. Calvin waited. Noah had practiced on the bus. Every version now sounded like something printed inside a sympathy card. I was scared, Noah said. That isn't an excuse. It's what Leon said I do before I make everyone else deal with it. Calvin looked toward the kitchen. Leon talks too much since he got promoted from talking less. The sauce broke because I rushed it. I handed you my mistake and then used my father's words when you wouldn't pretend it was yours. Your father's dead. Don't put everything ugly in his mouth. Noah took that without defending himself. You said it, Calvin continued. Your voice. I know. Do you? I heard him. That doesn't mean he made me say it. Calvin's eyes settled on him for the first time. Noah held out the spiral notebook. I wrote down the meatloaf. I'm not signing a yearbook. I want you to check it. I came for my knives. I know. Calvin entered the kitchen. Noah followed far enough to watch him roll each knife in a towel before placing it in the case. 6 knives, all old, most sharpened down into narrow versions of themselves. At the grill, Leon chopped cabbage. He said nothing. Calvin reached for the final knife, a 10-inch chef's blade with a dark wooden handle. His fingers closed around it and stopped. What did you write for apple? He asked. 180 grams per 4 pounds of beef. Nobody grates 180 grams of apple. That's how much you used. You weighed my trash? The core and peel. Calvin looked offended by the thoroughness. You wrote milk? 1.5 cups. Too much. That's what you poured. Bread doesn't absorb the same every day. So I wrote 1 to 1.5. Calvin took the notebook, found the page, and read. His lips moved over the list. Halfway down, he removed a pen from his shirt pocket and crossed out Noah's oven temperature. It baked at that temperature. Oven lies. The thermometer says 350. Oven says lots of things. Calvin wrote 375 on dial / 350 actual. Then he closed the notebook and handed it back. 2 weeks, he said. I'll work 2 weeks. Gives you time to replace me. We can't replace you. Then use 2 weeks to become less helpless. What about after? After is after. He returned the last knife to the magnetic strip above the grill. Noah tried not to make gratitude into another form of pressure. Thank you, he said. Don't. Fine. And I don't work the station alone anymore. I'll schedule Leon beside you. Leon has his own work. Then me. Calvin studied him. You planning to sleep? Eventually. Do that before handling knives. The Friday dinner crowd arrived early. The old meatloaf sold out again. White bean soup sold all but 2 bowls. Noah removed 7 dishes from the glossy menu and watched 3 guests leave after learning there was no truffle pasta. 4 others ordered pot roast and stayed for apple cake. The cake collapsed when May sliced it. She served it in shallow bowls beneath warm custard and called it baked apple pudding. A man at the bar ordered a second portion. See, Noah told her, British. He asked if it was supposed to look like that. What did you say? I said yes in an accent. They finished the night with their highest sales in 5 weeks. It still was not enough for payroll. Rosa laid 5 envelopes across the office desk. Noah put every dollar the restaurant could spare into them. Each contained roughly 60% of what the employee was owed. Pay Tasha first, May said from the doorway. Tasha shook her head. Pay Leon. He bought food. Calvin, Leon said. He missed tonight's tips. Kitchen doesn't get tips, Calvin said. That's not the point. Noah looked at their faces. Nobody gets to be noble with somebody else's rent. He divided the cash according to hours worked. Tasha counted hers once and tucked it into her purse. When do we get the rest? She asked. Monday. You sure? No. Better answer. After they left, Noah carried his duffel upstairs and unfolded the brown vinyl couch. It did not unfold. He removed the cushions and discovered a wooden platform beneath them, along with 3 sugar packets, a fork, and a quarter. The couch was 5 feet 4 inches long. Noah was 6 feet 1. He lay down with his knees bent and used his rolled laundry jacket as a pillow. At midnight, the compressor in the walk-in began its helicopter noise. At 12:15, an ice bin cracked. At 1, pipes knocked inside the wall. He understood why his father used to arrive furious after nights spent doing inventory. Noah slept for perhaps 20 minutes before footsteps sounded on the stairs. He sat up. Rosa appeared in the doorway carrying a blanket and a paper bag. Her eyes moved from the duffel to his shoes lying beneath the desk. 30 days, Noah said. I didn't ask. I'm saving bus fare. The bus is $2. It adds up. She set the blanket on the desk. The paper bag contained ointment, 2 clean towels, and a toothbrush still in its package. You keep emergency toothbrushes in your purse? He asked. I stopped at the drugstore. You didn't have to. I know. She turned to leave. Rosa, she looked back. Did he sleep up here? Your father? Noah nodded. Toward the end. Why? He said driving home wasted time. That wasn't why. No? What was? Rosa rested one hand against the doorframe. He didn't like going home to a house where nobody was waiting. She went downstairs before Noah could ask anything else. He lay beneath the blanket, listening to the restaurant settle around him. On the desk, the spiral notebook remained open to the meatloaf page. Beneath Calvin's correction, in smaller handwriting Noah had not noticed, were 4 words. Apple depends on the week. Noah stared at Calvin's 4 words until they blurred. The phrase annoyed him because it was true beyond the recipe. The amount of apple depended on the price of beef, the dryness of the bread, the week Thomas had experienced before picking up the grater. Noah had spent years accusing his father of treating cooking like law. Now, the staff was showing him a man who improvised constantly and lied about it afterward. At 6:30, the rear door banged downstairs. Noah rose too quickly, struck his shin on the desk, and came down carrying the blanket around his shoulders. Calvin stood at the prep table in his coat. "You said 4, Noah said. "That was yesterday. I meant you don't usually come this early. I don't usually work beside an owner who sleeps in his office. How does everybody know? You're wearing a blanket." Noah looked down. "Right." Calvin opened the walk-in and removed the remaining ground beef. "Not enough for lunch. We'll do chicken. The breast, thighs. Marconi delivers at 8. You paid Marconi?" "Partly." "Then Marconi partly delivers?" "Apparently the left side of the truck." Calvin shut the walk-in. "Chicken's for dinner. We need a lunch special. Cabbage rolls. We don't have cabbage leaves big enough." Calvin opened the produce drawer and lifted a green head the size of a bowling ball. Noah had not seen it the night before. When did that get here? Was behind the fennel. The old fennel? They formed a bond. By 7, they were blanching cabbage leaves. The filling produced another argument. Calvin remembered rice. Rosa remembered breadcrumbs. Leon, arriving with coffee and no grocery sacks, said Thomas had used rice only when the restaurant served it as a side. May claimed there had once been raisins. "There were never raisins," Calvin said. "There were. During his Mediterranean phase?" "He had no Mediterranean phase. He bought preserved lemons. Diane bought preserved lemons." They all looked toward the walk-in, where the jar still occupied valuable shelf space. "Breadcrumbs," Noah decided. Calvin handed him the bowl. "Why?" "Rice takes longer. That's a reason." The distinction pleased Noah more than it should have. They rolled 40 cabbage leaves around beef, apple, onion, and crumbs, arranged them in hotel pans, and covered them with tomato broth. Noah wrote down every amount. Calvin crossed out 3 and added smell before salt beside the sauce. At 9, Tasha arrived carrying a cardboard box. "Donations," she announced. Inside were cloth napkins, mismatched coffee mugs, and a bundle of artificial flowers. "From whom?" Rosa asked. "Gail Mason." Rosa's face softened. "She coming?" "Lunch. I told her the meatloaf was back, but now it's cabbage. She'll complain. She complains when she's happy, too." Noah lifted a mug printed with the logo of a dental convention. "Why do we need these?" "We're down to 37 mugs without chips. These don't match. Neither do the customers." Tasha had called 3 former regulars after closing. Gail was one, the Haneys were another. The third was a group of retired hospital employees who used to come after evening shifts and had stopped when Mercer's table raised prices. "I told them the white bean soup is $8, she said. "It's 9. "It was 8 when I called." "When was that?" "Before you changed it." "I didn't change it." "You printed 9. Noah checked the menu. He had printed 9. 8, he said. "Growth," Leon murmured. At lunch, Gail Mason arrived in a red raincoat and embraced Rosa with enough force to move them both sideways. She was in her late 60s, round-faced and loud, and brought 2 friends who immediately began rearranging the artificial flowers. "Tom hated these," Gail said approvingly. "They're not staying," Rosa told her. "Then I'm taking mine back." Gail ordered the cabbage rolls, cut one open, and studied the filling. His had rice. Calvin leaned through the pass. "You're wrong." She raised her fork at him. "Your face had fewer lines last time I was here. Still got enough to frown at you." Gail ate both rolls and asked for another to take home. The hospital group arrived at 1. Dr. Haney came with her husband and ordered soup. 3 bar customers came because Tasha had sent a photograph of the apple pudding to a local dining page with the message, "It fell apart, so we fixed it." By 2, the dining room was nearly full. Noah worked beside Calvin and kept his mouth shut unless a decision needed making. When Calvin's hand tightened, Noah took the tongs without comment. Calvin shifted to the plate station without thanking him. The arrangement felt more respectful because neither named it. After lunch, Tasha showed Noah the responses to her photograph. People remembered the apple cake. People remembered Sunday chicken. People remembered prices that had not existed in 15 years and expected Noah to honor them. One comment read, "Tom Mercer made the best pot roast in the county, but Lord help you if you asked for ketchup." Another asked whether Noah was the son who went away. He locked Tasha's phone and returned it. "Why'd you do that?" she asked. "I was done." "You look like you swallowed a fork." "They don't know me. They know the story they heard. From him." "Maybe." "Who else?" Tasha tucked the phone into her apron. "Small towns don't need a primary source." "This isn't a small town." "Then why does everybody know your business?" He had no answer. Saturday sales covered the remainder of the overdue payroll, though paying it emptied nearly everything they had earned. Noah placed the missing amounts into envelopes and called the staff into the dining room after close. The pleasure he expected did not arrive. The envelopes looked too light on the table and too late in his hands. Tasha opened hers first. "All of it?" "Yes." "Did you pay yourself?" "No, that wasn't generosity, just checking." Leon counted his, removed the grocery receipt from his pocket, and laid it beside Noah's elbow. "You can reimburse that next week," Noah said. "You said when. I'm saying when." Leon took $42 from his envelope. Noah pushed it back. "Don't. You owe it. The restaurant owes it. You're the restaurant when you want to tell people what to do, and not when you want to give money back." Leon considered, then nodded, correct. Noah reimbursed him from the drawer. Calvin left his envelope unopened until everyone else had gone. Then he put it in his coat. "I'm still leaving in 2 weeks," he said. "You've mentioned? You're acting like paying people changes things. It changes whether they're paid." "True. I'm not buying forgiveness." "Good. Can't afford it." He walked out. Noah's apartment took 4 bus trips to empty. He owned less than he had imagined. Clothes filled 2 duffel bags. A chipped set of dishes fit inside a liquor store box. His books required 3 boxes, most of them cookbooks he had not opened since school. The mattress belonged to Mr. Larkin. The small table had come with the apartment. Noah left a lamp, a cracked laundry basket, and an unopened bottle of hot sauce in the refrigerator. Darnell arrived during the 3rd trip, wearing a sweatshirt and driving his sister's minivan. "You planned to move by bus and didn't call me?" "I didn't know you had a van." "I don't." "I have a sister who answers her phone. I was handling it." "You're carrying a toaster and a pillowcase." The box broke. Darnell took the pillowcase from him. "Where are we going?" Noah hesitated. "The restaurant?" "Temporarily." Darnell looked toward the apartment door, then back at Noah. He did not make the joke Noah was prepared to survive. "Your suit's at the cleaner," Noah said. "My suit has somewhere better to sleep than you." "It's looking that way." They loaded the remaining boxes. At Mercer's table, Darnell carried them upstairs 2 at a time, while Noah tried to place everything where the staff would not see. The office resisted becoming a bedroom. Shirts hung beside supplier invoices. Socks occupied a filing drawer marked insurance. His dishes went on the shelf above the coffee machine. Darnell found the photograph Noah had wrapped between 2 cookbooks. Thomas stood behind the old bar. Noah's mother sat on a stool in front of him, leaning backward into his chest while he pretended to scowl. She wore a yellow dress, and Thomas had flour across one cheek. "That your parents?" Darnell asked. "Yeah." "You look like her." "Everybody says I look like him. Everybody's lazy." Noah placed the photograph face down on the desk. Darnell left without asking when temporary ended. Sunday dinner brought a steady crowd, not a full room. Noah purchased chicken thighs and let Leon lead the cider braise. They browned the skin in batches. Leon cooked the onions until they nearly dissolved, then added cider, mustard, stock, and rosemary. Noah stood beside him with the notebook. "How much mustard?" Leon held up the spoon. "That's not an amount. It's this spoon." "What if the spoon disappears?" "Then restaurant closes." Noah measured the spoon after Leon emptied it. 2 tablespoons. 3, Leon said. "That wasn't 3. I already added 1. "When?" "When you were measuring the spoon." Noah wrote 3. The sauce stayed together. The chicken remained tender. Rosa carried the first plate to Mr. and Dr. Haney. Noah watched through the pass as Dr. Haney tasted it. She chewed, looked toward the kitchen, and took another bite. "Well?" Noah asked when Tasha returned. "She says it's close. What's missing?" She didn't say. "Ask." She's eating dinner, not defending a thesis. At the end of the night, the plate came back clean. Monday's dining page featured Tasha's photograph beside a short post, announcing that the old Mercer's dishes were returning. The restaurant phone began ringing before lunch. Rosa answered until 2 lines blinked at once. Tasha wrote reservations into the paper book. People asked for Friday and Saturday. People asked if the chicken would be available. One man wanted a table for 12 because his friends had held their monthly dinner at Mercer's before the renovation. By afternoon, Saturday's page was full. Rosa drew a line beneath the final reservation. "No more," she said. Noah counted the names. "This is 54. That's enough. We have 80 seats. We have 1 grill cook with 1 good hand, 1 prep cook doing 3 jobs, and you. Trimmed menu. Still food." The phone rang again. Noah answered. A woman asked for a table of 8 at 7:30. He looked toward the dark half of the dining room, the section they kept unlit to hide emptiness. 7:45, he said. "We can take you then." Rosa watched him write it down. The phone rang before he set down the pencil. At the end of the afternoon, Saturday held 86 reservations. Noah closed the book. "We can do it," he said. Rosa rested her hand on the cover. "That's what your father said," she replied, whenever he had decided somebody else would pay for his confidence. Noah pulled the reservation book from beneath her hand. "I'm paying them for the work." "With what?" "The tables. The tables don't pay until after the work. They'll pay Saturday." "And if they don't?" "They called us." Rosa looked at the names crowded between lines, arrows connecting parties to times, phone numbers squeezed into margins. "No walk-ins," she said. "Nobody waits at the bar. Nobody gets seated early. Fine. You tell them no when they ask. I know how reservations work. You know how full dining rooms look. You've forgotten how they feel." She returned to folding napkins. Noah carried the book upstairs and built a plan. 86 guests spread across 3 hours. A reduced menu of white bean soup, meatloaf, cider chicken, pot roast, and salmon. Maize apple pudding for dessert. No modifications except allergies. No truffle oil, miso, preserved lemon, or cauliflower puree. He calculated cooking times, table turns, portions, and prep hours on the back of old register reports. On paper, the night behaved beautifully. He taped production lists above each station. Leon read his and crossed out Noah's order of operations. "You can't start onions after beans," he said. "They use the same burner. The beans simmer. They occupy space while simmering. We have 6 burners. 1 doesn't light. 1 thinks high is low. 1 burns anything with hope. Then use the oven. Pot roast. The other, oven, apple pudding." Noah took back the list. Calvin read his own page. 40 meatloaf portions. "We sold 32 last Saturday." "You had me and Noah," Leon said. "This Saturday Noah's on grill. I can help with meatloaf before service." "You work Friday night at the laundry," Rosa reminded him. "I'll sleep Sunday. You'll sleep on the grill Saturday." They reduced the meatloaf to 36 portions and increased the chicken. Noah called Marconi for thighs and accepted the price without arguing. The restaurant had begun receiving full deliveries again, though each driver waited while Rosa counted cash. Demand continued through the week. The old dishes brought people back, but memories arrived with them and demanded service too. A man told Noah that Thomas once stayed open during a snowstorm for 6 stranded office workers. A woman described the onion soup served at her retirement dinner. 2 regulars disagreed in front of the host, stand about whether the apple cake used walnuts. "It never had walnuts," Noah said. Both turned to him. "How would you know?" one asked. He had no good answer. He knew the version his father made at home. The staff knew the versions Thomas made when apples were cheap, when butter was expensive, when a supplier had delivered too many pecans, when someone he loved hated rosemary. Noah began writing dates beside every variation in the spiral notebook. When dates were unknown, he wrote the person's name. By Friday, the notebook contained as many people as measurements. Friday dinner brought 53 guests and left the staff tired but encouraged. Calvin and Noah shared the grill without colliding. Leon's chicken sauce held. May sold every portion of apple pudding. Tasha persuaded 3 tables to order dessert after claiming it had survived a terrible accident. At 11, Noah took the bus to the laundry. Darnell found him feeding sheets into the press with his eyes half closed. "You open tomorrow?" he asked. 86 reservations. You have 86 tables? People. How many tables? 21. That sounds worse. It staggered. So was a bar fight. Noah missed 1 sheet. It wrapped around the edge of the feed belt, and Mel shut down the lane before it reached the heated drum. "You're done," Mel said. "I can fix it. You're done tonight. Go sleep." "You fire me?" "I'm preventing paperwork. Come back Monday, able to identify fabric." Noah caught the first bus toward Mercer's table and slept past his stop. He walked back 6 blocks in dawn rain, climbed the office stairs, and set 2 alarms. The kitchen woke him 90 minutes later. Pans struck metal. The grinder squealed. Someone turned on the radio, and Rosa immediately turned it off. Noah pulled on his trousers, washed his face in the office sink, and came downstairs buttoning his cook's jacket. "You're late," Calvin said. "It's 9:15. We started at 7. My list says 9. Calvin looked toward the taped production sheet, which now had "Get Up" added in red marker. They cooked all day. Onions softened in 3 pans. Pot roast filled both ovens and made the kitchen smell rich enough to conceal anxiety. Leon braised chicken in deep hotel pans, then removed it before the meat surrendered completely. May baked apple pudding in smaller dishes so the collapsed center looked intentional. Tasha polished glassware. Rosa checked every reservation by phone and learned that the party of 12 might arrive 20 minutes late. "Then they lose the table," she said. "You can't tell 12 people that," Noah replied. "I just did. At least give them 15 minutes. That overlaps with the 7:45. We'll make it work." Rosa closed her eyes. "There it is." "What?" "Your father's favorite recipe." At 5:15, the first guests arrived early. Rosa made them wait near the entrance. They stared into a dining room containing 9 empty tables and asked why they could not sit. At 5:20, Noah told her to seat them. "They're here," he said. "Their server is preparing. Tasha can bring water. Tasha is on the phone with the party of 12. I'll bring water." He did. Then another table arrived early, saw the first one seated, and objected to waiting. By 5:40, 4 tables were seated ahead of schedule. The first tickets reached the kitchen together. White bean soup, 2 meatloaf, 3 chicken, 1 salmon without mustard, though mustard was in the sauce and the menu clearly said so. Tasha returned to clarify. "They say it's an intolerance, not an allergy." "Then they tolerate something else," Leon said. Noah put a plain chicken breast on the grill. "That's not prepped," Calvin said. "It takes 12 minutes. It takes space. We have space." At 6:10, they no longer had space. Tickets hung from the rail in overlapping rows. The printer stuttered continuously. Calvin cooked steaks and salmon while Noah plated meatloaf, watched the plain chicken, reheated pot roast, and tried to keep track of which table had been waiting longest. Leon's station filled with saucepans. May abandoned pastry to warm plates. Rosa appeared at the pass. "Hold entrees for 12. They've already waited 30 minutes. They're drinking. Table 6 has nothing." Soup went out. 2 soups for 4 people. They ordered 2 soups. 40 minutes ago. Noah found their ticket beneath 3 newer ones. He had marked the entrees as fired, but nobody had started them. 4 minutes, he said. "Don't say 4 unless you mean 4, 6. Say 6 to them yourself." She disappeared before he could answer. At 6:30, the party of 12 arrived 27 minutes late. Rosa refused to seat them. The man who had made the reservation asked for Noah by name. He stood in the entrance wearing a camel-colored coat and explained that half the group had driven from out of town. Behind him, 11 adults filled the vestibule with wet umbrellas and disappointment. "We called," Rosa said. "I explained we couldn't hold the tables." "You said you'd try," the man replied. "I said we'd try if you were 15 minutes late." Noah looked into the dining room. Table 4 had finished entrees. Table 7 was waiting for dessert. "Give us 10 minutes," he said. Rosa turned on him. "We have the next reservation in 20. We'll put 8 at the big table and 4 at the bar. The bar seats 6, and 3 seats are occupied. We'll move them. You don't move guests like chairs." The man in the camel coat watched the argument with embarrassed fascination. Noah lowered his voice. "We need this party. We need to serve the people already here. We can do both." Rosa stared at him, then handed the man 12 menus. At 7, every seat was occupied. The kitchen fell behind by 35 minutes. The chicken dried while holding in the oven. The pot roast sauce reduced too far and turned salty. Calvin's right hand locked around the tongs. Noah pried them gently from his fingers, put him on plating, and took over the grill. A salmon burned while Noah argued with Leon about the remaining chicken. "We need more sauce," Noah said. "We need more chicken. Slice it and cover it. That doesn't make dry meat wet. It gets plates out. It gets bad plates out. Then what do you suggest? Stop seating people. They're already seated. Whose fault is that?" The printer rattled. Noah sent the chicken. 2 plates came back. Then a meatloaf returned cold. A steak ordered medium went to the wrong side of table 16 and came back cut open. Dr. Haney waited 52 minutes for pot roast and told Tasha she no longer wanted it. Tasha carried the canceled ticket into the kitchen. "I told you table 10 was waiting," she said. "You told me after table 16. I told you 3 times. You rang this chicken as 2 orders, because they asked for 2 orders. The ticket says 4. The number beside it is the seat number. I know how tickets work. Then read one." Noah slapped the paper against the rail. "If you entered them clearly, I could." Every person near the pass heard him. Tasha's face changed. "No," she said. "You do not get to do that. We don't have time. You just blame me for something you read wrong. I'm trying to get food out, and I'm standing in that room apologizing for you. Then do your job and let me do mine." The words landed harder because of how ordinary they were. Tasha untied her apron. Rosa came toward them. "Tasha, no. I told him I couldn't afford a moral stand." She placed the apron on the pass. "Turns out, I saved enough." "You leave now. Rosa's alone," Noah said. Tasha looked at him as if he had confirmed something. "You still think needing people means you can say anything." She picked up her purse and walked through the dining room. Several guests watched her leave. Rosa took the apron from the pass, folded it once, and set it beneath the host's stand. After that, the night did not recover. It merely ended. May served tables between desserts. Leon washed pans while cooking. Calvin stayed until the last steak left the grill, then removed his compression glove and soaked his hand in ice water. Noah comped 11 entrees, 6 desserts, and the entire check for table 10. The party of 12 left $40 on a bill exceeding $300. At midnight, the dining room looked ransacked. Napkins lay beneath tables. Salt remained scattered near the bar from the wine spill a week earlier. 3 plates of uneaten chicken sat beside the dish pit, their sauce congealed. Rosa counted the drawer. They had taken in more money than on any night since Noah inherited the restaurant. After refunds, canceled dishes, wasted food, extra delivery costs, and overtime, they had earned less than the previous Saturday. Leon left without speaking to him. Calvin took his knives this time. "I said 2 weeks," Noah said. "That was before tonight." May placed the remaining apple pudding in the walk-in. "Don't call Tasha before morning." Noah stood alone after they left. He picked up one of the returned chicken plates and tasted the meat cold. It resisted his fork. The mustard sauce could not hide what heat and waiting had done. Upstairs, his phone showed a message from Grant. "Heard you had a big night. Offer still possible if you're ready to be reasonable." Noah went downstairs and pulled the folded offer from beneath the host's stand. The stand rocked again. He carried the page to table 10 and sat where Dr. Haney had left, after waiting nearly an hour for food she never received. The room held the stale warmth of too many disappointed people. Grant answered on the second ring. Noah listened to his brother say hello. Then he hung up. He turned the offer over and wrote 5 names on the blank side: Rosa, Leon, May, Calvin, Tasha. Beside each name, he wrote what the restaurant owed them that money could not settle. In the front window, the open sign still glowed. Noah crossed the room and switched it off. Then he took a marker from the host stand, wrote "closed" on the back of Saturday's ruined reservation page, and taped it to the glass. He did not add a date for reopening. By 8 the next morning, the closed sign had curled away from the window at one corner. Rosa pressed it flat from outside. Noah watched her through the glass. She read the word, read the lack of reopening date, and knocked. "The door's unlocked," he called. She tried it. "It is not." He crossed the dining room and turned the deadbolt. Rosa entered carrying a box of pastries and the paper reservation book. "You left this on the bar, I know. You slept?" "No. You always answer too quickly when the answer is no." She set the pastries on table 10. Around them, the dining room remained exactly as the night had left it except for the uneaten plates, which Noah had scraped and washed. Napkins still lay under chairs. A water glass balanced dangerously near the edge of table 6. "What does closed mean?" she asked. "It means we're not opening tonight. We have reservations. I'll call them. Tomorrow? No. Tuesday? No." Rosa waited. "Wednesday, maybe," Noah said. "Maybe is not a business hour. Then Wednesday, dinner only." She looked toward the kitchen. "With whom?" "I don't know yet." Noah brought 5 envelopes from behind the bar and lined them up beside the pastry box. The cash inside covered Saturday's base hours, not the overtime he owed. "This empties the drawer," Rosa said. "It belongs to them. Electric bill comes next week. Then we'll be closed in the dark." That was almost funny. It wasn't. Rosa opened her envelope, counted nothing, and closed it again. "What are you going to do for 3 days?" "Clean, cancel reservations, throw away half the menu." "You already threw away half." "The wrong half." She took a pastry from the box and tore it into small pieces on a napkin. "You can't design your way out of being frightened." "I know. Do you?" "I had a long conversation with a plate of chicken." "How did it go?" "It made several good points." The rear door struck its frame. Leon pushed inside, waited for it to catch, then shoved harder. He wore his gray sweatshirt and carried no groceries. "You closed," he said. "Yes." "You call anybody?" "I texted at 6. My phone was off." "That sounds peaceful." "It was until I turned it on." Noah handed him an envelope. Leon did not take it. "What's this?" "Part of Saturday overtime." "You need it for food." Rosa said, "Electric." Rosa likes electricity. She does. "Keep it." "No." "You trying to purchase a clean conscience?" "I can't afford that either." Leon took the envelope and pushed it into his pocket without counting. Rosa carried her pastry into the kitchen. "I'll start calling tonight's reservations." "You don't have to," Noah said. "I know." Leon looked at the close sign, then at the production sheets still taped above the stations. "Burn those," he said. "I was thinking recycling. Fire feels healthier." They took down every list. Beneath Noah's page for the grill, someone had written, "Sleep is an ingredient." Calvin's handwriting. Noah folded it into the spiral notebook. They spent the morning throwing away food. The waste hurt more when nobody was moving fast. 6 portions of dry chicken, a pan of salty pot roast sauce, wilted greens, cooked potatoes, cream left too long beside the range. May arrived in time to find Noah holding the remaining apple pudding over the trash. "That's still good," she said. "It's 4 days old. It gets better. It has dairy, coward." She took the pan from him, tasted 1 spoonful, and dropped the rest into the bin herself. Calvin came at noon without his knife case. Noah had expected either knives or no Calvin. The empty hands unsettled him. "There's your envelope," Noah said. Calvin collected it from the table. "You said Saturday changed your 2 weeks." "It did. I'm not asking you back on the grill." "Good. I'm asking you to come back for prep." Calvin's eyebrows rose. "And training," Noah continued. "If you want. 2 mornings a week. You show me the old dishes, show Leon anything he doesn't know, and correct the notebook. No dinner station unless you choose it." "You demoting me?" "I'm trying to stop pretending your hand isn't hurt." The kitchen quieted. Calvin's right hand remained in his coat pocket. "You don't get to diagnose me." "I'm not." "I watched you soak it in ice after service. Everybody hurts after service. You couldn't release the tongs." Calvin looked at Rosa. "You tell him?" "My hobbies are broader than discussing your joints." Noah stepped closer, not enough to crowd him. "I should have asked what you could do," he said. "I decided what I needed and called it your job. What if I say I can work grill? Then I say I can't build the schedule around hoping your hand survives." Calvin's face hardened. Leon came to the prep table. "I need you before service more than during. You can chop an onion, I can chop 50. I can't tell him why Tom put coffee in the pot roast rub." Noah looked at him. "He did what? See?" Calvin took his envelope and sat at table 7. 3 mornings, he said. "Not 2. "You want 3? The cabbage rolls need work. You said they were right. I said Gail was wrong. Different thing." He removed the compression glove and flexed his fingers slowly. "I train," he said. "I don't babysit." "Agreed. And nobody calls me old." "No one calls you old." "May does." From the pastry station, May said, "I call your ideas old. Calvin pointed at her with his stiff hand. That. Noah wrote 3 mornings beside Calvin's name on a new schedule. Leon stood over him. Who works the line? You. I already work the line. You run it. Leon did not respond. You decide when food is ready, Noah said. You decide when we stop orders. You tell Rosa if the dining room has to hold a table, and she listens. Rosa leaned through the kitchen doorway. Let's not write fiction. You listen unless there's a front of house reason not to. Then you two decide. And you? Leon asked. Grill, prep, dishes. Wherever you put me. You own the place. That's not a station. You giving me your father's job because you don't want it? No. I'm giving you authority you should have had before I arrived. Leon studied him. Authority to tell you no. Especially that. No. Noah blinked. No to the job or demonstrating? I'm practicing. Rosa made a sound suspiciously like a laugh. They rebuilt the week on a clean sheet of paper. 48 reservations maximum on Friday and Saturday. 36 on other nights. No parties larger than 8. The restaurant would open for dinner only until the kitchen could support lunch again. Meatloaf twice a week, not daily. Chicken would be braised the day before. Pot roast required 24 hours notice from the kitchen before it appeared on the menu. May crossed out apple pudding. What do you want instead? Noah asked. I don't know. What was Dad trying to do with the cake? You keep asking that. Because you knew. I knew what he changed. I didn't know what he wanted. Then what do you want? She glanced toward the pastry station, where the bruised apples sat in a wooden crate. I want a cake that doesn't apologize for being cake. That sounds threatening. No custard hiding it. No bowl. Something warm that holds when you cut it. What flavor? Mine. Noah drew a line through Thomas's apple cake. May watched him do it. He wrote Me-I's apple cake. Don't name it yet, she said. Why? What if it's bad? Then we name it after Grant. She smiled despite herself. Just apple cake. They placed it on the draft menu without a price. Tasha came at 3 for her envelope. She remained near the front door in jeans and a green sweater, her purse strap looped across her body. Rosa and the others had moved into the kitchen, leaving Noah alone with her in the dim dining room. He handed her the cash. This isn't all the overtime, he said. The rest Wednesday if we reopen. If we don't, Friday after my laundry check. Keep your laundry check. I owe you. The restaurant owes me. You told Leon there was a difference. He told you that? Leon talks. She put the envelope in her purse. Noah had written his apology in the office. He had crossed out every sentence that contained but, because, or trying. I blamed you for my mistake in front of everybody, he said. Then I used Rosa and the customers to make you responsible for staying. I'm sorry. Tasha looked past him at the close sign. Okay? He waited, then understood that okay did not require anything from her. We'll mail your tax forms, he said. You're firing me now? No, you didn't ask me back. I'm not going to make the apology into a recruitment speech. That surprised her. What are you doing? She asked. 48 covers maximum. Leon runs the line. Calvin trains and preps. Dinner only for now. Smaller menu. No seating early unless Rosa and Leon agree. You put Rosa and Leon in charge? They're in charge of what they actually know. What are you in charge of? Being overruled, apparently. A corner of her mouth moved, then flattened. I called those regulars, she said. They came because I said it was different. I know. You made me look stupid, I know. No, you made everybody out there think I had lied to them. That's different from being yelled at. Noah felt the precision of it. You're right. I don't need you to agree with everything. I know. That again. I don't have a better answer. Tasha adjusted her purse strap. No, you don't. She left without saying whether she would return. For 3 days, the restaurant remained dark. Noah worked at the laundry overnight, slept until late morning, then cleaned and prepped beside Leon. Calvin taught them the pot roast, including a tablespoon of coffee in the spice rub. Rosa called every canceled reservation personally. May baked 4 apple cakes. 1 sank, 1 dried out, 1 stuck, and 1 held together but tasted in Calvin's judgment like a candle with ambition. On Wednesday afternoon, May took a 5th cake from the oven. Its top was dark gold, its edges pulled cleanly from the pan, and butter bubbled around thin slices of apple arranged without symmetry. They waited 20 minutes before cutting it. The slice stood. May tasted first. She chewed with her eyes narrowed, searching for whatever her own hope might have hidden. Well, Noah asked. It needs salt. Calvin tasted it. Everything needs salt when you ask too soon. Leon ate a bite and cut another. Noah tried it last. It did not taste like his father's unfinished cake. The apples were sharper. The crumb carried browned butter and something warm he could not name. Cardamom, Moy said. My father hated cardamom. I know. Noah took another bite. At 4:30, Rosa unlocked the front door and turned on only the lamps above the tables they intended to use. They had 29 reservations. At 4:45, Tasha knocked on the glass. She wore black trousers and a clean white shirt. Her old apron was folded over one arm. Noah opened the door. I heard the schedule changed, she said. It did. I want Saturdays off twice a month. Okay. And I don't promise to stay. I know. She pointed at him. Find another phrase. Noah stepped aside. You can decide after service. Tasha entered, tied on her apron, and looked toward the kitchen. What's dessert? May held up the first clean slice. Tasha examined it. It looks expensive. We haven't priced it, Noah said. Then stay out of it. She carried the plate into the dining room as the first guests arrived. The first guest asked to sit early. Noah looked at the empty table, then at Rosa. Rosa looked toward the pass. Leon shook his head. 10 minutes, Noah told the guest. Nothing collapsed. The man ordered a drink at the bar and waited 10 minutes. Tasha seated him when Leon nodded. Water arrived, then bread, then soup. The dining room filled one table at a time instead of all at once, and the kitchen absorbed each ticket before the next arrived. Noah worked the grill. When he saw 4 open seats and 2 people waiting near the door, he kept his mouth shut. When Table 6 asked for pot roast without coffee in the rub, Tasha told them the coffee could not be removed from meat already cooked. When a woman said she did not like cardamom, May sent out a bite of apple cake and let the woman decide whether she had been correct about herself. She ordered the full slice. At 7:30, Leon called a 10-minute hold. Rosa stopped seating. Noah's hands continued moving. 2 salmon, 1 medium steak, 3 meatloaf. Calvin stood at the end of the line with his notebook open, correcting the angle of Noah's knife while slicing pot roast. You're cutting with the grain. I am not. Calvin turned one slice 90 degrees. Noah looked at the fibers. Fine. Historic day. You stole that from Leon. Leon learned from me. At 8:15, Dr. Haney's husband asked if the cider chicken was the old recipe. No, Noah said when Rosa brought the question back. Leon glanced at him. It's the one we make now, Noah added. Rosa carried the answer to table 10. Dr. Haney sent back a message. Good. The night ended with 29 guests served, no entrees returned, and 4 slices of apple cake remaining. Tasha stood at the bar counting tips while Noah counted the drawer. Well, he asked. She kept counting. You said you'd decide after service. I decide faster when nobody talks. He waited. She made 3 stacks, wrote the total on a slip, and tucked the money into her envelope. I'm staying through next Saturday. That's not very long. It's longer than tonight. Okay. And I get the private room for my break if nobody booked it. The private room is full of broken chairs. Then remove them. Anything else? Yes. Don't look at empty tables like they've betrayed you. He glanced toward the dining room. I don't do that. You're doing it now. She took the last slice of apple cake and left. The smaller system held, because everyone could see where it bent. Leon learned that 48 covers worked only if no more than 16 ordered chicken at once. Rosa spaced reservations by what people tended to order, putting the hospital group earlier because they lingered over coffee and the monthly dinner, later because they drank bourbon but skipped dessert. Tasha marked regulars who arrived ahead of their booking. May refused to guarantee more than 30 slices of cake. Calvin developed a prep schedule built around his hand, heavy chopping first, fine knife work after the medication took effect, teaching whenever stiffness made both impossible. Noah learned to ask how many, how long, and who had to carry it. He did not always like the answers. On the second Friday, Rosa refused a party of 10. We can split them, Noah said. No, 2 tables of 5. They'll stand between them and trade chairs. We could put them in the private room. Tasha is eating soup in there. That can't be the deciding factor. Tasha hasn't sat down in 5 hours. Noah looked through the small room's glass door. Tasha sat alone at a table crowded by stacked chairs. eating from a bowl with one hand while scrolling through her phone with the other. "Fine," he said. Rosa called the party back and offered 2 different nights. They booked for Thursday. The decision cost the restaurant money and improved service. That contradiction bothered Noah until he began noticing how many contradictions kept the place alive. Meatloaf made from cheap ingredients required more labor than steak. Calvin worked fewer dinner hours and contributed more. Tasha sold more dessert after Noah stopped telling her how. Leon's first act as kitchen lead was to remove 2 dishes Noah had insisted would be profitable. The cider chicken made less per plate than salmon, but brought back people who also ordered wine, coffee, and cake. By the 3rd week, Mercer's table paid the current utility bills on time. The older debts remained, but suppliers accepted weekly amounts because the payments actually arrived. Marconi stopped waiting for cash at the loading door. The linen service delivered clean napkins again, though Noah kept Gail Mason's mismatched donations for coffee. Payroll cleared on Friday. Noah stood in the office refreshing the bank balance until Rosa reached over and closed the screen. "If you stare, it gets shy. I want to make sure. It cleared. All of it. That is what cleared means." He had not paid himself. He continued working nights at the laundry 3 times a week, sleeping in the office on the other nights. Mel moved him permanently from the press to folding and told him this was not a promotion, though it felt like one to Noah's hands. Darnell began stopping by after his Friday shift for white bean soup. He paid full price and tipped Tasha so extravagantly that she started calling him Mr. Funeral Suit. Noah washed the suit twice before the cleaner removed the soup stain. Darnell inspected the lapel under the dining room light. "You know what this means," Darnell said. "That you forgive me, that I can die presentable. Order lunch. I thought you were closed for lunch. We are. So now you're throwing me out? Growth requires honesty." Darnell left with 2 pieces of bread in his pocket. The 30th day arrived without ceremony. Noah noticed only because he turned the page in the reservation book and saw his own handwriting beneath an old coffee ring. 30 days. He had written it after Grant's offer, not sure whether it marked a deadline or a threat. Mercer's table was not rescued. The refrigerator compressor still woke him at night. One oven lied, one burner refused to light. And the dining room ceiling leaked beside table 12 whenever the rain came from the west. They owed money. Calvin planned to stop working dinner service entirely. Noah's bed remained a couch 5 feet 4 inches long, but there was enough in the account for next week's food and wages. At 4, he called the staff into the dining room. Rosa brought napkins to fold. Leon brought an onion and a knife. May carried a bowl of cake batter she refused to leave unattended. Calvin sat with his compression glove tucked in his pocket. Tasha remained standing because, she said, meetings lasted longer if she became comfortable. 30 days are up, Noah said. "So you're closing?" Tasha asked. "No." "Then why are we here?" "I said we'd see what was left." Calvin looked around. Chairs. Most of them financed, Rosa said. Noah opened the spiral notebook. Inside were 23 dishes in varying states of agreement. Pot roast with coffee. Cabbage rolls with breadcrumbs, though Gail's rice objection remained in the margin. Meatloaf with apple, depending on the week. Cider chicken with 3 measurements for mustard and an argument about rosemary. May's cake, still labeled simply apple. "What's left is this," Noah said. "And us, if you want to be." "Are you proposing?" May asked. "To all of you?" Tom would call it efficient. Noah closed the notebook. "I'm staying. I don't know if the restaurant lasts a year. I don't know if it lasts 6 months. But I'm not treating it like something I have permission to gamble for 30 days anymore." Leon sliced the onion in half. "What changes?" he asked. "I start taking a small wage next month, so the numbers aren't pretending my labor is free. We keep the cover limits. No lunch until you say the kitchen can handle it. Calvin comes off dinner after Saturday." Calvin nodded once. Noah looked at him. "Saturday, we eat together after close. Private room. Why? Because you've worked that grill 21 years. I still work here, not on the grill. I'm not dead. Then you can attend?" Calvin looked offended, which Noah had learned was not the same as unwilling. "Can there be steak?" he asked. "You're tired of steak. I'm tired of cooking it." They agreed on steak. The following afternoon, Diane called. Rosa answered, listened, then held the phone away from her ear. "It's your aunt. I have several. You have one who calls here." Noah took the receiver. Diane's voice came clipped and formal. Grant and Meredith's anniversary is Saturday. 15 years. Their rehearsal dinner was at Mercer's table. Noah remembered the night mostly through dirty plates. He had been 9 and allowed to stay until dessert because his father had needed someone to polish forks. Congratulations to them. We'd like the private room at 8. 14 people. The room seats 10. It seated 16 at the rehearsal dinner. 14 years of fire codes happened since. 15. More dangerous. Diane exhaled. 2 tables in the main room then. We cap parties at 8. This is family. Family eats in groups of 8. I'm not dividing an anniversary dinner. Noah checked the reservation book. Saturday was nearly full, but 2 tables remained at 8:15. I can seat 8 at 1 and 6 beside them. Separate checks or 1. 1, obviously. We require a card deposit for parties over 6. We never paid a deposit before. From across the host stand, Rosa said, loudly enough for Diane to hear, "You also didn't pay the bill before." There was a pause. "What is she talking about?" Diane asked. Noah covered the receiver. "What is she talking about? Grant's private dinners." Tom carried the balances until they disappeared. "How many?" Rosa held up both hands, then one finger. 11, maybe 12. Noah returned to the call. "We require a deposit. This family poured money into that restaurant. This family ate a lot of it." Diane's voice dropped. "I paid for the renovation that allowed the building to remain respectable. The renovation helped put white bean soup under something called roasted garlic essence. Your father approved that menu. After you told him nobody wanted his old food." Silence came down the line. Noah had not known he would say it until he did. Rosa's eyes remained on him. "Thomas was embarrassed," Diane said at last. "He saw every empty table as proof the world had passed him. I tried to help him change before the business collapsed. You changed the room people loved into a place nobody recognized. And you think nostalgia will support it forever? No. Dinner supports it, 1 table at a time." Diane began to answer, then stopped. A second voice entered faintly in the background. "Meredith." After a muted exchange, Diane returned. "Meredith will provide the card. 8:15, 2 tables, regular menu. We'll want the private room for drinks first. It isn't available." "For what?" "Calvin's dinner. The cook. His name is Calvin. I know his name." "Then Saturday you can say hello from the dining room." Diane hung up. On Saturday, Noah arrived from the laundry with 4 hours of sleep and found a garment bag hanging from the office door. Inside was Darnell's blue suit, cleaned and pressed. A note on the hanger read, "Families notice stains." At 7:50, Noah changed into the suit. At 8:13, Grant's SUV pulled into the lot, followed by Diane's pearl gray sedan and 3 other cars. Through the front window, Noah watched his family gather beneath the gold M. Behind him, the private room glowed with warm light. Calvin sat at the head of the table, complaining that his steak was late while Leon cooked it exactly the way he liked. Rosa came beside Noah and straightened his borrowed lapel. "Table or door?" she asked. Noah unlocked the entrance. "Table," he said, "if they can behave." Grant entered first and stopped 3 steps inside. Every table lamp glowed. Coats hung from chair backs. Glasses touched beneath conversation. The riverstone walls still looked gray, but the room no longer resembled a bank, because banks did not smell like onions, cider, and bread. "Busy," Grant said. "We saved your tables." "I meant generally." "I know." Meredith came in behind him, wearing a dark green dress and carrying a wrapped bottle of wine. She kissed Noah's cheek before he could decide whether to offer a hand. "You're in the suit," she said. Darnell insisted. "I still don't know Darnell. He remains devastated." Diane entered with the rest of the party. Adult cousins Noah had not seen since the funeral, 2 of Grant's old friends, Meredith's sister and her husband, and a woman Diane introduced as her neighbor before adding, with unnecessary clarity, that he should not infer anything. Rosa took their coats. Grant looked through the glass door of the private room. Calvin sat at the head of the table with a cloth napkin tucked into his collar. Leon placed a steak in front of him. May and Tasha sat along one side. Darnell occupied the opposite end, though nobody remembered inviting him. Grant turned to Noah. "We can fit in there." "No, it's our anniversary. It's Calvin's dinner. He's an employee. He's eating." Diane lowered her voice. "We discussed this. You requested it. I said it wasn't available." One of the cousins pretended to examine the frame menu near the host stand. Grant's friend became fascinated by his phone. Meredith touched Grant's sleeve. The tables are fine. Grant continued looking through the glass. Calvin raised his wineglass toward him, then drank without smiling. You put the staff in Dad's private room, Grant said. It hasn't been private since the fire inspector capped it at 10. You know what I mean. Yes. Grant waited for Noah to soften. Noah picked up 14 menus. Your deposit holds the tables for 12 more minutes. Rosa coughed into her fist. Meredith took Grant's arm and led him toward the dining room. The two tables stood side by side beneath the damaged ceiling at table 12. Noah had placed a bucket beneath the leak, though the sky was clear. Tasha said it gave the family something familiar to complain about. Diane touched the back of one chair. We could move these together. No, Rosa said. Diane looked at her. Service aisle. We moved them for the rehearsal dinner. 15 years ago, I had better knees. Rosa seated them exactly as the room required. Noah returned to the host stand, aware that his shoulders had climbed toward his ears. The suit jacket felt too tight. He loosened the top button and checked the dining room. Table 4 needed bread. 7 had empty water glasses. The monthly dinner group had arrived 3 minutes early and was waiting at the bar without complaint. Mercer's table did not pause because his family had entered. That was its own kind of relief. He took bread to table 4, water to 7, then slipped through the kitchen door. How bad? Leon asked. They're seated. I meant your face. My face is working. It looks overcooked. Noah reached for an apron. Leon slapped his hand away. You're front tonight. I can take grill while you finish Calvin's table. Grill's covered. By May. She stood at the station with tongs in one hand and a look warning him not to comment. You do pastry, Noah said. I do heat. She trained Wednesday, Leon said. Go manage your inheritance. The first family ticket arrived. 2 salmon, 3 pot roast, 4 meatloaf, 5 cider chicken. Grant had ordered meatloaf. Noah looked through the pass. His brother was pouring wine for Meredith, holding the bottle with a napkin beneath the neck the way Thomas had taught them both. Leon read the ticket. Problem? No. Then stop making it one. The kitchen moved. May seared salmon. Leon reheated chicken in its braising liquid and checked each piece with a thin skewer. Noah plated pot roast until Leon ordered him back into the dining room. Calvin's table laughed behind the glass. Darnell was telling a story with both hands while Tasha stole pieces from Calvin's steak. At the family tables, Diane was reading the menu as if reviewing an unfavorable contract. Pot roast, she said when Noah approached. Meatloaf. Cabbage rolls on Thursday. Not tonight. It's the kind of food people made when they had nothing. People still have nothing. That isn't what I meant. What did you mean? She ran one finger down the single page. Your father worked for years to move beyond this menu, and then spent years trying to find it again. Did he? The question held more uncertainty than challenge. Noah looked toward Rosa, who was pouring coffee at the next table. I don't know, he said. Diane folded the menu. At least that's honest. The entrees arrived together. Tasha placed the cider chicken before Meredith and 3 others. Rosa served the pot roast. Noah set Grant's meatloaf down last. Grant looked at it. No maple syrup? We couldn't afford the premium. Meredith nudged Noah with her elbow. Be nice. It's my anniversary. You married him on purpose. Every marriage needs a mystery. Grant cut into the meatloaf. Apple kept the center moist. The edges had caramelized in onion glaze. He tasted, chewed, and said nothing. Meredith tried the chicken. Her fork stopped. Oh, she said softly. Noah knew the sound, not recognition exactly. The movement of an inner door. Thomas never served this at our dinners, Diane said. He made it at home, Grant replied. Not when I was there. You didn't come on Sundays. I came plenty, not after Mom left. The word referred to Grant's mother, not Noah's. For a moment, the family table exposed the seam everyone usually covered. Grant had been 12 when his mother left Thomas. Noah had not yet been born. Different women, different houses, the same father growing sharper each time somebody departed. Diane cut into her salmon. It looks very brown. It's braised, Meredith said. I know what braised means. Then you know what color it is. Diane reached across and took a bite of Meredith's chicken. She frowned. No rosemary, she said. Meredith looked at Noah. My mother hated it. Diane took another bite. Thomas used rosemary after Claire died. Sometimes, Rosa said from behind her. Diane turned. You're listening? I've worked in dining rooms 40 years. It's that, or develop thoughts of my own. Grant pointed at the chicken. Did Dad still make this? Every Thursday near the end. Noah felt the answer before he heard it. The same old injury in a new location. For staff meal? He asked. Rosa nodded. Sometimes Sunday if he stayed over. Why didn't he put it on the menu? Diane asked. Because you told him nobody would pay for food they could make at home. Diane set down her fork. You think I controlled Thomas? No one controlled Tom. That was most of the problem. I was trying to keep this place relevant, and he was trying to impress you. Thomas did not care what I thought. Rosa's eyebrows rose. Grant gave a short laugh. That might be the least believable thing anybody said tonight. Diane looked around the table. He asked me for advice. No, Grant said. Dad asked for agreement with witnesses. It was the first defense of Noah's version Grant had offered. Rosa lifted the chicken plate so Tasha could clear beneath it. Tom said this dish tasted like the years before. Success made him afraid of being ordinary, she said. Then he complained Leon's onions were too thick. They were too thick, Leon called through the open pass. The family laughed, even Diane. Her laugh was smaller than Grant's and ended sooner. She looked toward the kitchen, where Thomas's name no longer appeared on anyone's jacket. I didn't know he was afraid of that, she said. Rosa's face softened. He didn't use the word afraid until the morphine. Noah looked at her. She had not mentioned morphine before. His father's final weeks belonged to other people in fragments. Diane knew the accounts. Grant knew the hospital room. Rosa knew Thursday chicken. Leon knew the last corrections at the stove. Noah had 17 missed calls and no complete version of anything. He returned to the kitchen before anyone could watch him absorb it. Leon was slicing cake. Onions were fine, Noah said. I know. You could have defended yourself. Rosa was doing well. They served the apple cake warm. May had added thin shards of caramelized apple on top. Meredith closed her eyes after the first bite. Grant asked whether there was another piece before finishing his own. Diane examined the crumb. This isn't Thomas's. No, Noah said. Whose? May's. Diane looked through the private room glass. May sat with one shoe off, laughing while Calvin attempted to cut the restaurant's steak with his personal knife, because he had declared the table knives insulting. It's better than his, Diane said. Noah turned to her. She took another bite. Don't make me repeat it. After dessert, Grant stood and tapped his wine glass. The room did not quiet. Only the two family tables did. To Meredith, he said. 15 years ago, my father told her she could still escape through the kitchen. She said she'd seen the kitchen and preferred her chances with me. Meredith lifted her glass. He also paid for the rehearsal dinner, Grant continued. Rosa made a small, doubtful noise. Eventually, Grant amended. The family laughed again. Grant's expression shifted. Dad should be here. He'd hate the walls, the music, and at least one of us. But he should be here. His eyes reached Noah's and held. To the people who stayed, Grant said. They drank. Noah did not know whether Grant meant Meredith, Thomas, the restaurant, or himself. Maybe Grant did not know either. When the check arrived, Meredith paid it before anyone else could reach. Grant added a tip in cash. Diane waited near the host stand while the others collected coats. You made it smaller, she said, small enough to work. Thomas would have hated the limits. He hated empty tables, too. He left you this place because he knew I'd close it. Noah's chest tightened. Did he say that? No. He never explained it to me. Diane glanced toward the red tag keys hanging beneath the register. That's why I was angry. At me? At him. You were simply available. The admission sounded so much like her that he believed it. Grant joined them, fastening his coat. She means she's impressed. I mean, it hasn't failed yet, Diane said. From her, that's flowers. Grant looked around the dining room. The final regulars were leaving. Through the private room glass, Calvin was opening the wrapped gift Leon had placed beside his plate. A new knife roll, empty. You could expand the bar, Grant said. Bring back lunch. With proper money, you could turn this around faster. No, I haven't offered anything. You're about to. A partnership. Family capital, your operation, Diane added. It would protect what you've built. Noah looked at the two of them. At the will reading, they had pushed the restaurant across a table, as if its failure might stain their hands. Now they stood beneath its warm lights, offering to rescue what had begun functioning without them. You can have table 12 twice a year, Noah said. With a deposit, Grant smiled. You're enjoying this? A little. Dad would. That doesn't make it wrong. Diane put on her coat. Think before you refuse. I did. It took 30 days. He opened the door for them. Meredith kissed his cheek on the way out. Grant paused beneath the awning. For what it's worth, he said, I laughed because I thought Dad had done the same thing to you he always did to me. What? Made the gift feel like a test. Rain began in a fine mist beyond the awning. What would have happened if I failed? Noah asked. Grant looked toward the window, where the family tables waited to be cleared. We would have said we knew it, he replied. That's why we needed you to. He walked to the SUV. Noah locked the door after them. In the private room, the staff had left one chair empty between Rosa and Calvin. Noah stood outside the glass until Tasha noticed him. She pointed at the chair. This time, he went in and sat. Calvin pointed his steak knife at him. You let that woman call my dinner an employee event. It was an employee event. It was a retirement dinner. You said you weren't retiring from the grill. Then retirement was involved. Words matter. Tasha poured Noah a glass of wine. Not to this family. The empty knife roll lay open beside Calvin's plate. It was brown canvas, thick enough to stand on its own, with Calvin Reed stitched inside the flap. Calvin ran one thumb over the lettering. What am I supposed to put in it? He asked. Knives, May said. My knives have a case. Then ointments, Rosa said. I'm not putting medicine in a knife roll. Snacks, Darnell suggested. Calvin looked down the table. Why is laundry here? Laundry has a name, Darnell said. Also laundry brought pie. Leon cut the pie, which had come from a grocery store, and was still cold in the center. May objected to eating a store-bought dessert in her presence, then took the largest slice. Noah ate Calvin's leftover steak and listened to them argue. The private room's stacked chairs had been removed. Tasha had placed a lamp in the corner and stolen 2 framed photographs from the upstairs hall, one of the original dining room and another of Thomas standing beside Calvin at the grill. In the photograph, both men were younger and refusing to smile. You're keeping this? Noah asked, lifting the frame. No, Calvin said. Why not? My hair looks stupid. You had hair, Rosa said. Be grateful. Noah set the photograph face down. Calvin turned it back over. They stayed until nearly midnight. Before leaving, Calvin placed the new roll beneath his arm and took his old knives from the kitchen. He transferred them one by one, complaining about the pocket sizes, the stitching, and the unnecessary shoulder strap. When he finished, he left the old case on the prep counter. For you, he told Noah. Noah opened it. Inside were 6 empty slots marked by years of oil and steel. You gave me an empty knife case. You gave me an empty knife roll. Mine was new. Then you got the better one. Calvin put on his coat. I don't have knives, Noah said. Get some? My old roll was empty. Not my fault. Do you know what happened to them? Calvin paused at the rear door. Tom threw one through a box of canned tomatoes. That answers one knife. Buy your own. The door stuck against his shoulder. Noah came around the prep table to help. Calvin shoved it open before he arrived. And fix this damn door. The new rear door cost $700. Noah bought it 2 weeks later, after the refrigerator compressor survived another night, by making a noise Leon described as a bear swallowing silverware. The refrigerator would have to wait. The door did not. The installer removed the warped frame and found 20 years of shoulder marks along one edge, paint worn away by cooks and drivers entering with both hands full. Noah kept that piece of wood behind the office couch. The new door opened with 2 fingers. Everyone hated it for a week. Mercer's table did not become famous. It became dependable. Friday and Saturday filled first. Thursday followed after Cabbage Rolls acquired a group of loyal defenders, including Gail Mason, who continued insisting they needed rice. Lunch returned on Wednesdays only, then Wednesdays and Thursdays, when Leon decided the prep schedule could carry it. Noah did not announce the expansion until after Leon approved it. The current bills kept arriving, and, more often than not, left paid. Old debts shrank in amounts too small to impress Grant, and large enough to matter to the people who were owed them. Noah began taking a wage. The first check paid for a room in a narrow house 4 blocks from the number 8 bus. The room had one window, a hot plate, and space for a mattress that belonged to him. He left his dishes above the restaurant coffee machine because they had become the staff dishes, but took the photograph of his parents. He placed it on a shelf without turning it face down. Mel reduced his laundry schedule to 1 night a week. "You're resigning badly," Mel told him. "I still need the health insurance." Then fold straighter. Darnell continued coming for soup on Fridays. He wore ordinary clothes, but Tasha still called him Mr. Funeral Suit. Calvin trained 3 mornings a week and worked no dinner stations. He claimed this made him management. Leon claimed it made him expensive. His hand improved enough for chopping, but never enough to return to the grill, and after a while he stopped watching Noah cook from across the kitchen. He watched from the dining room instead, which was worse. Tasha stayed beyond the next Saturday, then beyond the Saturday after that. She rewrote the reservation rules in thick black marker and taped them beneath the host stand. The first rule read, "Empty tables are allowed." The second read, "Nobody promises 4 minutes." When Noah objected to the wording, she handed him a pen and told him to write his own rules somewhere less visible. Rosa stopped carrying the register drawer upstairs because Noah added a second verification to the closing routine. She still watched him count. May's apple cake remained apple cake on the menu. Guests began asking for May's cake anyway. Diane returned alone one rainy Tuesday. She sat at table 12 beneath the repaired patch in the ceiling and ordered cider chicken. She brought the brass clock from Thomas's office in a shopping bag. "It was at my house," she said. "I noticed. I intended to have it cleaned." "For 4 months?" "Clock cleaners are difficult." Noah set it on the table between them. "You can keep it," he said. "It belongs upstairs. It belonged to him." "That's what I said." "No, it isn't the same." Diane looked at the clock's motionless hands. "You don't want it?" "I want you to have something that wasn't a building." Her mouth tightened. For a moment Noah thought he had injured her. Then she wound the clock with the small key attached beneath its base. Thomas had done that every Monday. The ticking began softly between them. "I hated the lake house," Diane said. "Grant got the lake house." "I know. I hated that he got it." Noah laughed. Diane did too, though she looked offended by herself. She took the clock home. Grant came less often, usually without warning, and never with a party larger than 8. He ordered meatloaf so consistently that Tasha stopped giving him a menu. He and Noah did not become easy with each other. They became accurate. Grant admitted he had laughed at the will reading because the restaurant frightened him. Noah admitted he had enjoyed using the offer as a shim beneath the host stand. Neither apologized for enough. Meredith paid every deposit. Sunday evenings became the only time Mercer's table served food without charging for it. The ritual began after Calvin's dinner, when Leon used the remaining cider chicken for staff meal, and May opened the spiral notebook to correct the dessert page. The following Sunday, Rosa brought onion soup as she remembered it from the first year. After that, one person chose a dish each week. They cooked behind locked doors. Nobody wore uniforms. Music played from Tasha's phone. Darnell appeared often enough that Rosa added his name to the grocery count. Sometimes Grant came, though Calvin made him wash pans. Diane came once and spent the evening peeling apples too thin. After they ate, Noah opened the notebook. They wrote what each person remembered. They wrote contradictions without resolving them. Rosemary before Claire died, never at home, sometimes at the restaurant. 3 tablespoons of mustard, unless the spoon was smaller. Coffee and pot roast, but not enough for anyone to identify it. Apple, depending on the week. Noah added dates and changes. He never hung Thomas's photograph in the dining room. No dish carried his father's name. The restaurant did not need to pretend one dead man still stood at the stove. Near the end of winter, May placed a battered index card beside the spiral notebook. "Found it behind the pastry shelf," she said. The card held 4 lines in Thomas's handwriting. "Apples, brown butter, cider, not cake. Too dry means afraid." "That's not a recipe," Noah said. "I told you." Leon picked up the card. "Afraid of what?" "Ask him," Moy said. Calvin looked toward the ceiling. "Tom, what's this nonsense mean?" The ceiling offered no correction. They argued for 3 Sundays. May refused to turn it into cake. Leon wanted bread pudding. Calvin suggested pie and was ignored. Rosa remembered Thomas soaking apples in cider, but could not remember whether he cooked them first. Tasha wanted salt. Noah kept trying to supply an answer his father had not left. The first version dissolved, the second tasted like sweet onions, the third was dry. Noah pushed away his plate. It needs another decision. The phrase quieted the table. He had not used it since the night Calvan walked out. Leon looked at him. What decision? Noah read the 4 lines again. Stop trying to make it his, he said. On the 4th Sunday, they did not look at the card until the dessert was finished. May browned butter. Leon reduced cider with the apple peels. Calvin cut thick slices because his hand could manage them better than thin. Tasha added more salt than Noah thought reasonable. Rosa buttered torn pieces of stale cake and arranged them beneath the fruit. Noah did not touch it. Leon carried the skillet to the table. The top was crisp at the edges, soft beneath, with apples holding their shape in dark cider caramel. It was not cake, pie, pudding, or anything Thomas had ever served. Leon spooned some into Noah's bowl. Too dry means afraid, he said. Still nonsense. Taste it. Noah did. Brown butter came first, then tart apple, salt, cider, and the familiar softness his father had kept trying to reach without knowing how to ask for it. Noah's face folded before he could stop it. Nobody looked away. Nobody moved to comfort him either. He ate another bite while tears ran warm beneath his eyes. It did not bring Thomas back. It did not answer the missed calls or repair the last thing Noah had said to him. The flavor did not belong to his father. That was why it hurt, and why it was good. Noah pulled the spiral notebook closer. At the top of a clean page, he wrote all 6 names, including his own. Then he added the first instruction. Use what everyone remembers.